A whole ass panel is forming here. Okay, then you gotta click something to make the chat shared, though.
Yeah. Let me find the button.
You gotta click the buttons
there we
that
go.
do the things. A whole
There we
ass
go.
panel. A whole ass panel. There, look.
There we go.
Now there's icons. It's a whole ass panel. Oh wait, let me turn the emote wall on so comrades can make emotes fly across the screen. There, now you can communicate cross community into Bry's community.
There you go.
Isn't that incredible?
It's wonderful, really.
It's like crossing the ether. You're sending notes across the ether to the other comrades on the other side of that ether.
Hell yeah.
It's like black magic.
Audio
It's like sending pigeon mail.
Wait a second. Okay, I'm actually gonna go over to Magcat is currently streaming. I'm gonna go into her chat.
Who? Oh,
Magcat. She is currently streaming. I don't know why she hasn't joined.
Bry's gonna go over there and be like, "Oi,
oi,
oi, oi." That's what.
Oi, mate.
Oi.
Oi, oi.
And
hey, look, I see people in the other chat. Hey there, Frank and Panty.
Hey, Franken.
Neuro's got audio issues.
Eventually, Chimera, the whole world will just be one big chat.
Yes.
We will keep merging the chats until all that remains is one chat.
Yeah, it'd be like an episode of Black Mirror. Except all the bad stuff won't happen.
Yeah, because the Nazis don't have their newspapers.
Exactly.
The Nazis will not have their newspapers, in fact.
While we're at it, can we take the newspapers away from the trots?
yeah, I mean, I think that counts as a Nazi.
I mean, who reads newspapers anymore? Like, I think that they're... If they're just gonna have like an old like paperboy news or like newspaper that they're holding up next to their heads, I feel like their impact is small.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah.
Gotta have an app.
They can have a column. It'll just have a disclaimer that says this is wrong.
Just a big sign that says wrong.
Yeah. Caution, when reading this article, be aware that it is completely wrong.
On her stream, she's just having fun with her camera.
Yeah, Tanky Times is an operation to take the newspaper back from the trots.
Yeah. It's anti-Trotskyist action.
We're inspired by the work of Iskra Books, doing likewise with publications and not leaving it up to like Marxist.org people solely anymore.
It does make sense.
Yeah,
like,
because
cede the whole ground to them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice that there is like the translations and the stuff that is on Marxist.org, but the good thing about Iskra is they try and go for better translations or customize the translation so it's better.
Yeah.
Which can make a huge difference in
half the time when
philosophy.
I'm scrolling Iskra as well, I'm just like, I'll scroll through a person's name and I'll be like, nope.
Now she's here. Hello.
Yay.
Hello.
Good
evening.
No, I have to.
Now we're just waiting on Neuro.
Neuro's having audio issues.
Leftist
audio.
Leftist audio. Typical.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a stream without leftist audio issues.
Classic leftists. Yeah.
We need some goddamn audio engineers involved in this shit.
We have Dexy. You have a Dexy. That's one.
I've got one as well.
Neuro's here.
Yay.
They have arrived.
Helena
Hey.
Riot.
Does it work? Yeah.
Okay,
no,
I need to actually switch my screen so I'm not just showing floating otters on a starting soon screen.
I think I hear everyone, don't I?
Matt, I also sent you an invite to share chats and stuff.
Cannibalism is wrong. Said I know some audio. That's good. That's good enough.
That's more than I know.
We're not
Yes,
we're not picky.
more than
We're
me.
not picky at all.
Yeah. Listen, beggars can't be choosers around here.
Correct. My God.
All right, everyone, how does it sound?
That's so disappointing.
Oh, you like audio? Name 5 songs.
Wonderwall, 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 and Wonderwall.
I like her answer. Oh shit. Okay, now you should wait. Hold on. Fuck.
If you're
Now I'm
talking, we
doing
can hear
leftist
you, but
audio.
that's funny.
Now I'm doing the thing. Now you can hear me. Now
there
you
we
should
go.
be able to hear me.
This
Yeah.
is going swimmingly.
Wow. I did the fucking thing.
Classic Bry.
I know, right. Can't take responsibility.
Oh,
Put it on everyone else.
it was the Nazis. It's their fault. They did it.
Audio.
How's everyone been doing? It has been warm. Well, I would say hot because I want to eat the fiery yellow orb. I am very pale and I don't tan at all. And it's going to be worse tomorrow. Fantastic. Scotland
It's
is not
been very
built for
hot.
this weather. It has been very hot.
The UK is not built for this.
Correct. There's always moisture in the air and it just drains all the energy out of you.
Yeah.
Just please, no.
Have you tried becoming at least 3 separate countries? That might help.
It's a good idea, actually.
It would be, yeah.
I keep telling you, I'm going to disappear off into Scotland and rebuild Hadrian's Wall, and that's a job. It's done.
Well, I keep on saying if Manfrog, which that's a bit up in the air, isn't it? If he gets into number 10, I'm going to be in queue and buying the shovel myself. Don't tempt me. I will dig a trench.
Just a giant trench at the border.
And I've got comrades who live in Newcastle and parts of the northeastern Yorkshire. They're going to escape.
We're taking Newcastle back.
We are currently sharing chat with Larry. I told Mad Cat that we can't. That I sent an invite to shared chat, but I don't know if you figured that out.
Oh, on Twitch.
Yeah. You'll get like a notification.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, check your notifications.
This is a panel about the failure of single payer healthcare strategy system under capitalism.
How it doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
All right. Did you find that, Katie?
Got it.
Got it?
Oh. Yes.
It's live now also, so you could send one to me.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, no.
let me try inviting you again.
Oh. Oh, no, I didn't mean to highlight everything.
I'm going to go make another coffee while you all sort out the tech issues.
I knew this would happen. I had a feeling. Thank you, Shift, for that, by the way.
Twitch is great like that.
Twitch is balked.
It just works.
It just works.
It
except
just
for when it
works.
doesn't.
16 times the detail.
16 times the detail.
I don't know. I haven't like.
Okay, there we
someone has
go.
joined the
I see
shared
someone.
chat.
Okay, you joined the share chat. Perfect. We're
There
all
we
good.
go. We've joined
We're
our
all
chats
good. We
together.
figured it out eventually, comrades. We did it. Next, capitalism.
Yay.
Bugga, what do you think about this?
That will be the easy part.
How am I having trouble aiming at you? There.
Luna, let me know when you're back, and then we'll get started. I will do. Cool. Hi, Bugga. What a cutie.
Don't bite the railing.
I will be talking to my chat as well. Just keeping them informed.
Sure.
Linda! Oh, this is
No, Bug, no.
Oh, Shift. Hello, Shift. Great to see you. Oh, what the? Restore this tab. God damn you.
Now, but I
Thank
think
you.
that now
Restore.
I'm double probably on my stream. Perhaps. No, I'm not. I don't know. I don't know.
You want to fight or something?
Well, I'm hearing things. I've heard noises. What would be noises? Oh, I've got more followers.
Yay.
Oh, thanks for the shout out.
Hello, everybody. Hi.
Ooh, Comrade Ferto.
Right when
Ooh.
Luna starts making the coffee, we figure everything out. I find that very funny.
It is, isn't it? I have been tasked by the super hubby. So many follows. Thank you, everyone, for following. Thank you. I'm a mad Scottish Marxist. A mad disabled Scottish Marxist.
Yeah.
Ooh. Welcome.
Typical, you fix everything as I go to make a coffee.
I'm sorry, that was transphobic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's incredibly transphobic and ableist of you.
I know, right? All right. So we're all good. We're all here. Perfect.
Yay.
Okay, so before we get started, can I get every panel member to introduce yourselves, your names, your countries you reside in, your pronouns?
But invite me too to the shared chat.
Oh, did I not do that? I'm sorry, Neuro. I think I asked you if you were going to be streaming on Twitch, and I forgot to. I didn't see you respond, so I didn't know.
I don't. Okay. Yeah. No. I'm.
I just
wagging my finger at you, Bri. Wagging my finger at you.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Let's see. Yeah. Here.
I promise I've done this one other time. There you are.
Okay,
Yeah,
now we got a full thing going on here.
No, wait.
Hell yeah.
No one has to be canceled.
All right. So can I get everyone to give your names, countries of origin, and your pronouns?
Who's going first?
I'll go first. I'm Bry. I reside in the United States. I use he, him pronouns. Go on, anyone else?
I'm Nero Riot.
Rose. Oh, no, gone Nero.
I'm Nero Riot. She, her, Sweden.
I'm Luna Rose, or Trans Fox Girl, live in the UK, she, her.
I'm MadCat79 Scotty. She, her, and I live in Scotland.
And I'm Larry. He, him, and I live in so-called Canada.
The alleged country of Canada.
The alleged country.
All right. So I wanted to get this talk together, especially with recent DSA wins, but also generally on the online left. I hear this sentiment that electoralism is on the table and healthcare reform is a ripe issue to solve in the United States. I want to be clear on the offset. Single payer healthcare would be an improvement on the lives of U.S. citizens as a whole. The issue at hand is how much of an improvement that would actually bring. More importantly, who would actually feel an improvement and for how long. The reason why I and the panel will argue how it's not sufficient improvement is that without attacking capitalism, an ideology which, by the way, at its core, only values the working class insofar as they create profit for capitalists. Whatever small gains we're able to claw back from them will be eroded, and this erosion will be felt by those deemed surplus by capitalist society. It should be obvious to all of you that this surplus is going to include the permanently disabled. But please allow me to invite you to think more intersectionally on this issue. The historical effects of environmental racism paired with everyday racism means that Black and brown folks are going to disproportionately need health care. And the existing racism will spark arguments that they are abusing the healthcare system. Soon enough, and with enough propaganda, these statements will be accepted with very little scrutiny. To take one example of environmental racism, the highest rates of lung cancer on Earth is among Black men in Louisiana. Lung cancer already carries with it the stigma of only arising due to smoking tobacco, and therefore is no one's fault but the person who gets lung cancer. In addition, it's still the case that medical professionals believe Black people feel less pain than white people, and those born with uteruses feel less pain than those born with penises. This has led to a grueling reality that Black mothers die in childbirth far more than any other racial group. Trans healthcare, to focus on another group, is typically defined as just cosmetic surgery, not life-saving medicine. Breast reductions, facial reconstruction, and masculinization, feminization, etc., already carry with them the stigma of plastic surgery and are associated with decadence. Not only this, but youth trans healthcare is already heavily stigmatized and currently a target of the American far right. Understand, all of this is to be brought up not to say that these will definitely be the angles of attack in some hypothetical, liberal, nationalized healthcare model. It's to say that attacks in general will occur and are inevitable under the current neoliberal capitalist model. Two final things I want to address before we start the panel. One, if you have any questions at any point in the discussion, please start the message with the word question so that we can get to it and address it. My lovely mod Shift has already done that for us. Two, has pinned that. Two, I've seen a lot of people say we need nationalized healthcare now. Then we can worry about creating socialism. In addition to, disabled people can't wait for socialism. They need healthcare now. On the former, understand that we have elected a president 3 times in the past 20 years who has promised some form of nationalized healthcare. Do we have it yet? We need to understand where our energy is best spent. And I would argue that putting our energy into electoralism, especially with the Democrats, has been historically proven to be wasted effort. On the latter point, I want you to understand that if you are saying this, you are being ableist. You are saying that the struggle for disabled justice is somehow separate from the class struggle. This implies that we are not capable fighters in a wider class struggle and should be coddled. It is imposing your vision of our liberation on us, rather than including us as active participants. In the disabled community, there is the phrase, nothing about us without us. And the fight for socialism is the fight for disability and healthcare justice. These issues cannot be separated. I want to hand this now I want to hand the discussion over to the panel members. Please speak on your experiences of healthcare in your countries in chat. Please be respectful of our panel members. Neuro, I think you said you wanted to go first.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Neurite. I'm from Sweden. I reside in Sweden.
Comrade
yeah.
Virgo has a question first before we move on here. Actually, we have two in my chat here, or in the share chat.
Okay. Also, I am having my mods save questions for the end. You know.
Yeah, these are good these are
go.
just two good prerequisite ones.
Yeah, sure.
Cannibalism wants to know. Am I loved?
Yes. Specifically by me.
And Virgo wants to know, question in reference to the statement, electoralism is on the table. Is there a reason to treat DSA as different from Democrats?
No. I don't see any reason why not. They run in Democrat elections. What do you call that?
And when we say DSA too, we're talking about the structure of the DSA, including the leadership.
We're talking
direction
about what
of
the
the organization
as a whole does. That's not an implication upon any individual DSA members, which can be very good individuals and very good
DSA
comrades.
itself is a funnel to take radicalized people and to funnel them into the Democrats to be de-radicalized.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let Neuro take over.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Neuro. Please continue.
Yeah, I'm Neurite. I live in Sweden, and yeah, the issues. I mean, sure, I would probably be. I mean, I'd likely be dead now if it wasn't for the national health care that I have received. However, it is. To call it bad is an understatement. Let's take this example. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed late in life as an adult. I don't know, 7 years ago, 8, 9, no more, something, 10 years ago, whatever. And well, the first time they assessed me for it. They gave me a person who didn't believe in ADHD, etc. Whatever. That was not the point of this. The point was rather that they have like from quite early on, they were very odd about the medicine. Like they told me that I needed to gain a lot of weight to even receive the medication, which was weird because I was my normal weight. But after that, they've also been like constantly implying that me getting my ADHD medication is like drug-seeking behavior, whereas like this is just normal ADHD medication. And then they started being more and more obnoxious about it in weird ways. Like they suddenly changed my dosage without even informing me. That has happened, I don't know, at least 10 times. That when I go to the pharmacy and try to get my prescription, they tell me that it's changed. So they don't even inform me about these changes. And according to the law, they actually have to discuss it with me and I have to approve it. These things never happen. So I started after many years of this, which is not also to say that like other parts of my ADHD care has been bad, but I'm going to focus on the medication right now. After years of this, I started to complain more and more. Early on, I didn't complain that much because I don't know. I didn't. I couldn't. I wasn't there. I wasn't like mentally, emotionally there to stand up for myself. But I started doing that more and more, and their response was basically often to just ignore it or claim that what they did hadn't happened, even though there are medical journals and other journals that you can see that happened according to their own records. And then I started pointing out which laws they were breaking, which are multiple laws. Like not only the one I said, but also laws about how you're not allowed, like anti-discrimination laws in relation to, because another law they break is that they force me to leave drug tests all the time, and that's only supposed to happen. You're not allowed to, technically on paper, you're not allowed to treat people with ADHD as if they are breaking the law, as if they're criminals, which they are doing with continue. I mean, I've always been clean on these tests, and they've done them for like a decade. But beyond that they continually changed up the meds or just refused to. So I pointed out exactly which laws they were breaking, and then it was better for about 2 weeks, and then it went back to being bad, like horrible, like a constant stressor. So then I told them that this can't continue on. Your care is making me worse continually, and you're treating me like a criminal. You are you're not treating me as a human being. And I told them that I was looking for private care, and then I switched to private care for my ADHD specifically, which costs a lot of money that I don't really have. So it's, However, what happened then was very, very, because I have other care like because I have anxiety, etc. I have sleeping issues, so I have other care as well. And what they did then was that I was asking for a refill of one of my normal medications that I take every day. That is pregabalin, or here it's called Lyrica. It's a medication for like I get it for my generalized anxiety and social phobia, or whatever they would call it. And it's like it's dangerous to go cold turkey on. But instead of refilling my prescription, they informed me that, we are dropping you as a patient, so you can't get any mental health care within the nationalized system anymore, because you have received private healthcare for your ADHD, so now you have to have all mental health care through private. Which left me like in the fucking shitter, because now I was like, okay, I'm gonna be out of meds in just a few days, and then while the direct physical risk of going cold turkey on that isn't that like high, like as in there are medications that you can straight up die from going cold turkey, but like the risk of suicide and other stuff like that is like tremendous when you go cold turkey on it. And I had to then, and like the ADHD care I got was I didn't, they told me that I should contact them and get all my mental health care from them. Okay, and then they hadn't even contacted that clinic. They hadn't talked to them at all. They didn't even know if they provided, if they even had any clue about the medications, the specific medications that I was taking or anything. They just boop. And which also, this is also very illegal. They are not allowed to drop as a citizen of Sweden. The state is legally required to provide you mental health care. So it's like, yeah. And it's like and you're also allowed to choose your own care, and you can have care in many different places for different things. That's like legally explicitly written out in the law. But yeah, no, and I'm still, that was a few weeks ago. I have now private healthcare that I can't afford. That is like burning a hole in my pockets, because what I really need, what I had planned on doing was somehow get money to get some trans healthcare, because trans healthcare is impossible to get in the public system. Like, while it was paused for several years, it's not paused anymore. Technically, they can provide it legally now, because they couldn't a while back, but it's impossible to get. So I knew that part, that I had to get it from private. However, now I'm still dealing with this, that they just fucking dropped me, and it's like, I don't know, would they do this to a person who wasn't queer and multi-disabled? I don't know. Would they do it with someone who has like a decent job? Or, like, I don't know, but yeah, I'm still dealing with it. Yeah. So that's my story about how, and also it's like, it's also, I've seen it go from being severely not even decently enough, the mental health care in Sweden, go from that to being like outright hostile and life-threatening, and it's only the direction is only going towards even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
My shared chat display doesn't work for me, so I can't see if there's anybody writing anything. But I'm gonna open Chatterino and see.
You should be on share chat.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of working, but also not for me. It's
At least it's not our fault.
I'm gonna do it like this. I don't know. I don't know what it's up to, because it's up to something. But yeah. I like.
I think Franken chatted from your chat. Did you see anything?
Yeah, but my own screen doesn't show the shared chat, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. Because but yeah, that's happening. But,
if you pull up Larry's chat or mine, you see anything?
I'm in Larry's Twitch chat as well now, so I can probably see if he have shared chat on. Right?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So I can watch it from there. But yeah. As Franken said, they treat people like we are very much still in like their 80s dare mode here in Sweden. We like we treat everybody, especially if you're not a white affluent man, as a potential drug seeker in the healthcare system, basically, and that's not a good.
It's incredibly concerning to think of that when I'm thinking of my own country, where Black and brown people are just always treated as drug seekers. We haven't changed that yet, so yeah. I believe that Luna, you wanted to go next?
No, it's Mad Cat next.
Oh, it was Mad Cat next. Okay,
yeah,
I got
Mad
the order
Cat,
wrong.
Larry, and then me.
Perfect. All right.
No,
I did not have that pulled up.
Come on, Brad, get with it.
I'm sorry.
All right, we'll have to start the whole panel over again.
Right.
Fuck.
Thank you. Hello everyone. My experience has actually been quite positive. I got diagnosed at an early age with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and from that point on, I've always had really good care. It's taken them a while for them to diagnose my EDS. I only got that diagnosis a few years ago. So I was basically getting treated for my arthritis and a few autoimmune diseases. The doctors I've seen throughout my life, they've always been really good. Don't get me wrong, there's issues here in Scotland, but we're a lot more better as far as through my experience here in Scotland than other parts of the UK. So the one that stuck with me the most is how long it took them to actually decide that my autoimmune diseases were eating away at me, mostly my bones and now my connective tissue. It took them a while because obviously born with a semi-uterus kind of. I don't have reproductive system. I don't have ovaries, stunted fallopian tubes, and very little endometrial lining, but still basically AFAB, essentially. So always got good care. The rheumatologists that I've seen throughout my life have been really quite good. I've had the heads of clinic, the one up in Perth in my home city, and the ones down here in Glasgow. I've always had the lead of the rheumatology department. Rather lucky, really.
Mm-hmm.
My main issues is trying to get to the appointments and things like that. Last year, because they've managed to make a link with the estradiol that I got put on when I was age 16. I had a nasty habit of causing blood clots, and that got diagnosed. That I'd been living with this issue for a good few years, apparently, before I actually went in. I had an appointment with my GP. and I said, my knee isn't working well. I'd fractured it the year before, so 2 years ago. And I thought, right, it's just that my patella's not healing properly, but my lower right leg and my knee were rock solid, no giving it whatsoever. And she said, nope, straight round to A&E with you. Don't you dare move. A porter will come with a wheelchair to take you around. Just the look on Dr. Siddiqui's face was sending shivers down my spine. It was kind of terrifying, really. So the haematologist that I saw once I got put up in a ward in the old building of Glasgow Royal said, yes, you've probably been dealing with this for a while now, Katie. Fantastic. It took a while to get me put into the correct clinic because it's oversubscribed, mostly with women going through the menopause and having the same sort of issue. Like, so these blood clots that had formed in my leg had migrated up to my lungs, and they were huge. The one over my left lung was basically nearly entering the heart, which would have been not good, let's put it that way. So I got kept in hospital for 10 days while they sorted out what clinic I would be getting put into. And I got my referral into endocrinology as well. Apparently, according to my haematologist, the list to get onto the endocrinology clinic, it was a 4.5 year wait, apparently, at one point. And it only started coming down in the preceding 6 months for me having to deal with these blood clots and obviously the healthcare system. So overall, rather positive for me. I hear people and see people in my chat, mostly England and some Scottish comrades as well. Some of their experiences haven't been as positive as mine's. I always try to make outreach and say what people need to say to either their GP or if they're in a specialist clinic, rheumatology, endocrinology, whatever, hematology, cardiac and pulmonary as well. Just make sure that you say what's happening on your end and make sure to keep on repeating yourself so they get the message, essentially. Because that whole hysteria issue is still prevalent. We still get treated differently because we're female, which is, not good. So I'd rather blessed, really, to have a maybe more than a decent healthcare system here in Scotland. Funding issues still exist, obviously. But yeah, I'm rather lucky, really. The fact that I get treated worse for like the benefit side of things, the healthcare part, brilliant, positive, love it. The benefit side of the social security for lovely Canadian and American here. So my benefits system is where I get the most attacks, essentially. So trying to marry those two up has been like a mission of mine to get them to operate correctly. Well, it benefits mostly. I've always advocated for myself with my healthcare. I'm very proactive. I do a lot of research into what's wrong with me, so I go in already prepared. Do your research. Obviously, WebMD, massive pinch of salt if you deal with that. Always ask healthcare professionals, like I do. Pester them, really.
You know, I did actually once Google my my symptoms in WebMD in high school, and I got brain cancer back, and it was correct. So one time it was correct. But can you expand a little bit more on the benefits side of that?
Oh, right. My benefit, my one that I get is actually issued by the Scottish Government now, but it was with Department of Work and Pensions, which is the UK one. So since my benefit's been moved up here, my benefit's been increased. I get more money each month. and they actually treat you like a human. I don't need to go in for reassessments every few years like a lot of people who are disabled down in England and Wales have to suffer. And so trying to get them to listen to my issues, because it's called universal credit, and my husband gets it for looking after me. Having to deal with them to get the correct amount of money for this household because of my disabilities, my issues, it's like drawing teeth essentially, and having to deal with Caxton House, which is basically the office down in Whitehall. Trying to get them to listen and treat us human essentially is very, very difficult. It's like we try not to rock the boat too much where the Department of Work and Pensions is concerned, trying to explain that I'm disabled, I can't go back out to work. I live in fear of the one who is currently the Secretary for Department of Work and Pensions. It's Pat McFadden. I call him the Glaswegian Ghoul. I can't trust him as far as I could throw him. So it's all still up in the air whether they're going to take away part of our universal credit, the portion of it that my husband gets for looking after me. So hopefully they'll drop that part and not attack us more, because I've already went through it twice with the coalition government between 2010 and 2015, then 15 onwards with the Tories on their own. Austerity was bloody horrible. Gideon Osborne, go away, thank you. And trying to get them to treat us more like Scotland treats me would be nice. So there's the Timms review happening. I'm keeping an eye on it. There's been an interim report released. I check up on it every day. It is pinned on my taskbar, and I read it all. It's dry. It's legislation. It's bloody dense and mostly stupid, and trying to parse out the most salient points to actually educate my chatters and my extended community to make sure the disabled people have got enough knowledge to actually deal with what they're trying to do. So you might have heard about the debacle with trying to take $5 billion out of the disability benefits here. And the only reason they didn't do it and the Timms review got started was because of a Labour backbench rebellion. And it looked like the government were going to lose it, like between 130 and 150 Labour backbenchers were basically not going to vote for it. They weren't going to follow the 3-line whip, which is basically the government saying, vote our way or else. It's political violence. So the government caved. The then Work and Pension Secretary, Liz Kendall, her face was like thunder. It was glorious to see. Yes, you should. She was so angry at the Labour backbenchers for doing this, doing her landmark benefits reform. No. So I'm keeping an eye on that Timms review to make sure people's got enough knowledge to actually deal with it. Email your MP. Sometimes that works. Sometimes. My MP wanted to vote for it. She wasn't one of the backbench rebellers. Thanks, Maureen. I hope you lose your seat. So it's that side, trying to make sure that works for everyone, and the healthcare gets funded properly. Would be good. It really would.
Yeah.
Luna will be able to expand on that as well, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Larry?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, my experience mostly is with in regards to the mental health care system here, which is extremely hard to actually get any care at all. Like in order to get like a psychiatrist for like the extreme depression and stuff that I was experiencing, it took several years before I was actually able to see any kind of psychiatrist or get on any kind of program. So, from my experience, it has been definitely terrible and getting worse all the time as the healthcare system is undermined. Canada introduces private healthcare clinics all over the country recently, and uses those, of course, to gaslight about the how good the private healthcare system is, how much more effective that would be than private than the one that we have now. Worse than that though is like people from our communities, our native communities, the healthcare system for them, many of us avoid the healthcare system because a great deal of native people who end up going for healthcare might end up being, having their hair cut, which is a deeply culturally unsensitive thing, without their permission, without any reason for having their hair cut. And in many native communities, having your hair cut is only something you do if someone close to you dies or in a ceremonial situation. Even worse than that, you have women who will be deemed as troublesome if they're native women and perhaps be forcibly sterilized while they are under. That happens still quite frequently in
It's
Canada as well. So,
Jesus.
there is still within any healthcare system in a settler colonial system like ours, unfortunately, it is still ultimately grounded in like the science of a colonizer, right? It still is like science, like the healthcare is there, and there is great all kinds of great experts who mean to do all kinds of great things in there, but unfortunately healthcare is still skewed by white supremacy and also capitalism itself, where your worth is really measured by how well you can work, how quickly you can get back and contribute to making profits for, whatever system or whatever else. Like that is what healthcare is essentially dictated by, what it is grounded by, right? Whereas if you look at some place that actually has a socialist system and not a healthcare system that's nationalized and ready to be rolled back at any time, you see, one that is improving all the time. Whereas ours gets worse. There's less doctors, there's less availability, there's longer wait times all the time. So, yeah. And then the cultural aspects, like Bri already touched on as well. So that's like, that would be what I say for my own experience. Because again, aside from that healthcare experience, much like many people in the in our communities, in the First Nations communities, like I'm not gonna lie, I kind of avoid the doctors. So yeah. Hand it over to Luna.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay.
all you.
So I live in England. Slightly different healthcare system down here than up in Scotland. I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was 5 years old in 1995. My experience with that was kind of mixed. I wasn't, as far as I was concerned, I wasn't properly informed about any of the medications I was being given. I didn't have a fun school life. I constantly had to be taken out of the classroom to take my medication, which then led to inter-peer bullying at school. I kind of, as I started to get older into my teens, I got all sorts of different medications, and I felt kind of felt like I was being used as a guinea pig without being properly informed at any stage what these medications were, how they'd make me feel. Because they did make me feel weird. I didn't feel my normal, happy, like self. I kind of felt very withdrawn and depressed, and whenever I brought up that to the doctors. There wouldn't really be discussions around that or my mental health. There would just be a new medication or a different dosage. So I when I was 16, I stopped taking my medication, and I kind of withdrew from the NHS as a service. I just kind of stopped going to the doctors, stopped going to healthcare appointments because I don't know, I kind of felt nervous and kind of scared about the whole situation. And then I think when I was in my early 20s, I approached them for some help towards my weight because I have an eating disorder and I needed some help with putting weight on. And I guess nowadays you would call it being gaslit. But I was constantly, every time I went, I was just told it was my fault. I needed to eat more. I needed to have more of a routine eating schedule, which I don't have because I have ADHD. And then again, I stopped engaging with the services. The mental health side of things, where I live in particular, has some of the worst rated mental health care services in the entire country. So trying to get appointments with them was incredibly difficult. A lot of being dropped. I didn't want to I didn't want to go to the appointments at the centre because I was scared of the centre. The centre filled me with dread because I knew people who had gone there and had been sectioned and hadn't come back out again. They'd been taken straight to the secure unit. So I had a lot of...
Can you explain section to people who aren't in the UK?
Okay, so sectioned as being involuntary... what's the word?
Institutionalized?
Yes.
Yeah.
When they put you in a secure psychiatric facility against your will. And I was very nervous about that because of how bad my mental health was at the time. So I wanted to do the appointments from my home, which they wouldn't allow. There was no apparent funding for a guy to walk half an hour to my house to do the appointment. So I just kept getting dropped and passed from pillar to post. And then I stopped engaging. Again, this is a trend. I just stop engaging with the services.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came out. And that was not fun. Like, the experience inside the NHS of being trans is disgusting. I went in and I started to talk to my doctor about how I felt. And my doctor immediately was like, well, don't talk about that stuff. Don't think about that stuff. And that upset me. But I'm a bit more resilient now. I'm a bit more dug in. And I came back a couple of weeks later and I said, you know what? No, actually, I have been thinking about that. And I would like to pursue it. And he was like, my doctor, my GP, general practitioner was like, well, then we will have an appointment in a month's time. And if you still feel the same, then we'll put an application or a referral in for what's called the gender services here, because the gender services and the NHS are kind of separate. Like, they are, but they're not. They use the same facilities, but they claim to be separate so that they can gatekeep it. And I did that. Of course, I went back a month later and said, yeah, I still feel the same. I've felt this way my entire life. Put the referral in, and that everything seemed to be going okay up until that point. And that's when it really started. Like, I've been on that referral for 3.5 years now, to the point that I've been forced to go to the grey market for my hormones and try and seek private methods of trans healthcare, because I can't wait. Like, it's all good for them to say, oh, you've got to wait for this, you've got to wait for this, but like, if I wait for their timelines, I'm going to end up not here anymore, and I don't want that to be a thing. So I have to, at expense not just to me but also my partner Steph, get my hormones and try and find ways to pursue the healthcare, because the NHS seems to be just getting worse. It's not getting any better. Like I've said this before numerous times. When I was younger, I remember it being a bit better. You could get timely appointments. You could get seen when you wanted to. You could get diagnoses quite quickly. But now you're waiting years. Like one of our fellow friends, Dave, his mum's been waiting for a cataract surgery for multiple years at this point, and that's a serious surgery. You know, that it's like they don't care about us anymore, and they care less about certain groups of people than others, like disabled people, trans people, and people of color. So I think I've said what I've got to say for the moment. So I'll hand it back to Bri. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can I?
Thank
Yes,
you so much.
thank you very much. I just want to add on to that a bit, that like on the topic of trans healthcare, for years I brought up that I was trans, that I wanted trans care to my mental health care in Sweden, and what they told me was this. They told me simply that, oh, you can't worry about that because we need to fix your mental health care first. Like they were separate somehow. So that's like, for years, that's what they told me. And that's still what they tell me. Like, that hasn't changed. Even when I push them. And I push them a lot more these days. And like since 2017, it's been basically impossible as a new patient to get trans care in Sweden. Because in 2017, they paused all new patients for 2 years, and after that they resumed it. But the amount of people that they have started the new patients is like it's probably around 20 people or something total since 2019. So yeah, it also, like before 2017, it was at least possible to get trans healthcare in Sweden. But yeah, no. So that's and yeah.
I sure to ask the question, but why was it stopped for 2 years? Why would you do that?
Because they were saying that because of the trans panic. That was it.
Yes,
they like, no, they are transing all the people. We can't do that. We have to stop it.
Yeah, they did the same here. They're transing the kids, so they've had puberty blockers for trans minors on block for like, I think about 2 years right now. The NHS is currently covering up a huge scandal that's about to come out about how many trans kids have committed suicide in that time.
Yeah.
So, and it's quite a lot actually. I know what the numbers are, and it's staggering. Like, our government should hang their heads in shame for what they've done to the next generation of trans people.
Yeah, that is horrible.
Yeah,
I tried to find those numbers in Sweden, and I haven't been able to. Which is not that it's not happening, because it's definitely happening, but it's rather that no one has done that.
Steph said in Sweden you used to have to be sterilized. Yeah, that was the case here too.
Yeah, until 2012.
I believe that was also the case in the United States.
Yeah, had to be
For-
sterilized before you got trans care.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah, very
It
lovely.
is-
And like Sweden has also not only been like very 2012 it was very influenced by the United States trans panic, but also by Europe and also by Finland, because in Finland the person in charge of their trans care is a woman who is super transphobic.
Wow.
And her policies and her decisions not only is devastating for Finland, but other Scandinavian countries look at that and then look at it as a legitimate good thing, and so yeah. Yeah.
That's like over here, the HRC, the Equalities and Human Rights Commission, who's supposed to protect the equality of everyone in this country, has got a transphobe in charge of it who's making incredibly transphobic decisions, which does affect people's healthcare. Because if I was to get hit by a car tomorrow, I would be put on a ward with men. So whatever happened to me in that instance happens. And I am a survivor of sexual abuse by cis men. So
we are not well represented. There are very many terrifying people among us. A thing that you all kind of mentioned a lot was the fact that like it seems that mental health care has been a thing that is not cared about that much in your countries. It as opposed to like physical health care. And I've been positing in my mind that this is mostly because if they fix up your leg or whatever, then you can go back to work and you can keep doing the job for them.
Yeah.
But if you have mental health issues that take away your spoons and, make it so that it's very hard for you to get out of bed, then they can't monetize you as much. They can't exploit you as much. And so they just don't care about that. Or if you're
instead they offer you MAID.
They'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Canada, country, they'll fucking kill you with MAID.
Yeah. In Canada, they literally just offer you MAID.
Yeah, luckily that's being held up in the UK by campaigners who don't want it to be used on the disabled, because the government want to rush that through. They want to get assisted dying straight through so that they can start using it on the homeless and the disabled. But we do actually have quite a big campaign over here that is trying to prevent it being rushed through without the proper guidelines and safeties in place to protect people from being subject to it like they are in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, just like with the healthcare
MAID as an example.
I mean, I would argue that the fact that we live in a capitalist country, it means that MAID is not safe.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because even if you implement it with
countries, the whole idea is how profitable are you? And how much money can we extract from you? And if you are a net burden on those countries, like you need round the clock care for 20 years, but you also are comfortable enough where you would want to live those 20 years. It's way cheaper for them to say, you want to die instead? You want to just die instead?
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely can't have assisted dying in a capitalist society.
No, because whatever measures you implement can be rolled back by just the next election.
Yeah. Or they'll find a loophole.
Yeah, it's also a discussion that being had in Sweden. it's not, even though it has a lot of pushback, but it's still an like serious discussion the politicians are having. So, and I really don't want that. But yeah, and another thing, like with like non-mental health care is occasionally pretty good in Sweden, but it's also like especially if you're like, say, my dad, who is a semi-affluent white man, like they can receive pretty decent care, and like if you're not too physically, like as you said, it has to do with like the ability to work or having worked a lot as well, because if you get enough status and like like my dad does get decent healthcare even though he's not working anymore because he's old, but like when I'm severely immunocompromised. I have HIV and I have long COVID, both things that make me extremely immunocompromised. I technically have basically no immune system. Like in Sweden, they don't use the term AIDS anymore, but when they still did, I do have AIDS, and that which also makes it like it limits my ability to work a lot, because like any little thing can kill me, whatever it is.
Let's go, Julian. Caboose me.
And when that happens, it's like, that I noticed a pretty like sharp decline in the like physical healthcare I receive. And I think it's like when you become too disabled, it's like then they stop trying there as well. And like another thing on the topic of that is that on paper, legally, they are required to focus on trying to minimize my in-healthcare in-person meetings, because they are because I can get sick and die from them. But they don't do that. They always, even like but like meetings that could have been on the phone, they want them to be in person all the fucking time. They refuse to do them remotely. So there are a lot of things that look good on paper in Sweden when it comes to healthcare, but in reality, it doesn't. It's just the thing that is on paper, but it doesn't actually. It isn't implemented, and as like it is also easy to. And I mean, this is the same in every capitalist country. It is easy to bully and trample on disabled, marginalized people because they don't have the resources to actually, like, I don't know, do a class action lawsuit or really like.
We're tired. We're very tired. We're very exhausted.
Or get journalists to listen to them so that it will start like writing about it. Because, like, for example, this thing about that they drug test me all the time because I'm on ADHD meds. That is, they do that with everybody, and it is illegal. Even there's been like government, like they have come out with statements saying that you can't do this. This is illegal. Stop fucking doing this. Several times. They don't care because they know that people with ADHD that they do it on, they tend to be people who gives a fuck. They get it's like but also when it comes to journalists, it's like, can I tell you a story about what happened early on in COVID? I mean, it has to do with euthanasia.
Sure,
because
right.
2020 and 2021, Sweden systematically murdered disabled people who got COVID. systematically, they gave them instead of giving them any medication, they stopped the medication they were on and gave them what has been described by doctors as a euthanasia cocktail, like morphine and stuff, and morphine and pills to make them calm down, and morphine to kill them, without their consent or information. They told them that they were giving them medication for COVID. And the disabled community noticed this pretty early on and tried to get any attention on it, any at all. And people were like, "Yeah, that's not happening. Shut up." That was the only response gotten until the end, until after they had basically almost stopped this had at the end tail of 2021. Finally, there was a journalist who wrote about it, but the thing was that so at least they had a journalist that wrote about it in a normal newspaper, but people's response were like, "Yeah, that's bad," but everybody knew it was happening, and then it didn't become it barely became. It didn't become a scandal. It was like something bad, but we have to push through COVID. Everybody has to sacrifice something for COVID or something. And it was like they systematically murdered disabled people. And that
they committed a big euthanasia project.
Yeah.
But
it's a eugenic project. It's a eugenic thing at the end of the day. You can't separate. I feel like, and also I want to make clear to everyone in chat, everyone here understands that euthanasia can be a very, a very compassionate thing to do.
Just
especially for people who are in immense pain and suffering and just want a death with dignity. When euthanasia is done in neoliberal capitalist countries, it is done in a eugenic framework.
Yeah.
It sometimes does get people who are who would need that sort of compassion, but it more often than not is used against people eugenically, just because just to call out the less desirables of society.
Yeah.
Like during COVID, in the UK, they were putting "do not resuscitate" notices on disabled people in hospitals that were like very sick with COVID.
There was a special Olympics Olympian here who when she asked for a new wheelchair, they offered her maid instead.
Oof. Jesus Christ.
I think NTC also is NTC in chat. If NTC is in chat, I think he was mentioning to me the other day that he was offered maid like 3 separate times when he asked for.
I remember.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. There's at least
asking for depression medication.
There's at least multiple different people who are like in like the MAID program, not necessarily fully approved, but in the MAID program for poverty alone. They don't want to die, but they feel like they're a burden because they need mental health care services and are not able to generate any income. And the most that you can get on, like, if you get on permanent disability from the government here is $1,000 a month. Well, a little less than that, actually, $900 a month.
That's kind of why I stopped engaging with the NHS and just like put up with how I was treated, because I kind of, when you're under a socialized healthcare system, if you try and complain about it, you are immediately shut down. How can you complain? Other people don't have free
I would say a
healthcare.
nationalized healthcare system, because this is not socialist.
Yeah.
This is not socialist
Well,
whatsoever.
yeah.
It's I mean, it's even worse than that. Really, at the end of the day, it's a single payer system. It's still all done through the insurance companies ultimately.
Yeah.
hmm
Like China does still through insurance companies as well, but they do it in a completely different way than like Canada does.
I was actually
Canada
gonna
just
mention
acts
that
as a
later on,
negotiator.
that, like, yeah, I was going to mention that later on, because China actually, like, China does actually have things like, you do get your healthcare through your employer partially for certain things, but it's completely different in how it's negotiated through the government. It's more like the government is making the employer pay for your healthcare than asking them to do it for them. As I understand it, right, Larry?
Yeah, well, it's that like our government negotiates a price with various whatever insurance companies specialize in whatever aspects it is. Whereas,
The same
you
for
know,
medications as well. The government
Yeah,
negotiates
yeah.
those. Yeah.
like the reason one of the reason why China is able to do that is because on top of any negotiating that they do, they also reinvest enormous amounts of state funds themselves, like out of the budget, into the healthcare system. And then the other part of China's system is that people who make a little bit more, they're charged a little bit more for the healthcare services, whereas somebody who can't afford healthcare, they receive theirs completely free, right?
But then, Larry, how do the middle management? How do they make money?
Yeah, yeah.
How do they have fancy conferences and office dues and?
Yeah, well, they don't.
Well, they get on their knees.
They don't get
and
that.
they wait for me to bend over, and then they kiss my ass.
Now, when you get to DPRK and like Cuba, in a sense, like you can see like the direction that China's healthcare system is developing in, where like in DPRK in North Korea, they have what's called the section doctor system, where the doctor is assigned to certain locations. So one doctor might be, in this particular building in Mirai Scientist Street, and this doctor works floors 1 to whatever. And so the doctors there will give regular house calls as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good luck getting house calls over here.
Well, we don't have the doctors.
One second. So before we move on, I just want to make sure, Mad Cat, you haven't spoken in a little while. Did you want to add anything here? I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel like you're being, you don't have a spot to jump in.
Okay, thanks, Barry. Thank you. I'll expand on what Luna was saying. Because of this ruling, and I'm not using her name, I call her Wizard Lady. And
the Witch of the East.
I can't remember the group. The Witch of the East in our moldy castle. And it is literally a castle in the capital that she lives in. God almighty.
Classic.
Yeah, classic, obviously.
Yeah.
Because of this puberty blocker and the fact that they're trying to keep these numbers quiet is damning. There's lots of transphobic MPs in the House of Commons. I want to get rid of all of them. I don't care if they're Scottish, English, Welsh, or whatever. Having to deal with them must be an uphill struggle. I do my best. I've had on trans streamers and content creators for them to tell everyone about their experiences, what it's like, trying to navigate the healthcare system here when you're trans. This seems horrible. And so West Streeting was the one that was actually pioneering the block on puberty blockers for trans kids.
Yeah.
Fun. children with precocious puberty, so that's when you start going through puberty when you're young, you're usually under the age of 10, they're still getting it. That was the start of it, and I thought that, right, this is it. This is starting. They're just going to ramp it up now. They're going to try and basically deny the rights, deny the trans community here in the UK. Just no, you don't exist. There's people in that community that basically want all trans people to go away, if you get my drift. I don't want to use horrible tumor language. I try
You
to
want us
promote
to cease existing.
yes. Kelly J. Keane, better known as Parker Posey.
Yeah.
Delightful. Women can fuck off, essentially. And lots of other ones, Helen Joyce and other ones. I should have actually brought up that photo that Sean used for one of his videos. So you see JK and all of the other ones around her, and he explains who all these people are. And that video was years ago. So this has been a long time in the coming, essentially, and they're just going to try and ramp it up now. But there is good campaigns, there is good grouping, good community groups and stuff, and people advocating for trans rights, and people wanting to stop this assisted dying bill. The Lords blocked it, essentially. At least they're good for something.
Yeah, they did one good thing.
They've done one good thing. Wow.
Don't worry. They'll disappoint you again. They're ready to.
The fact that they exist disappoints me.
Yeah.
I'm a Republican at the end of the day. We need a second elected chamber, thanks.
Yeah,
and
no lifetime appointments like that.
Oh yeah, and it's just filled with transphobes. Thanks, Tories. That was when who would it have been? It was Boris and lettuce lady Liz Truss. So when they step down, they can put people in, and they put in a good few transphobes. Delightful. Another reason to get rid of the House of Lords. Brilliant. Yeah. So I'm part of Republic, and we're campaigning to actually end the House of Lords and the monarchy, so we can bin lots of these people. There's a few disabled life peers. They're called Lords Temporal. Basically, Lords. Basically, just they're there until they die. Right. But there's still ones where it's hereditary peers. But what's happening now, if the peer dies, the next in line doesn't go in. So over time, the hereditary peers will just kind of die off. They're mostly old. They're all most of them are like in their the youngest is like in their late 50s or something, and most of them are probably reaching 80 at this point. So hopefully they'll all be gone. West Streeting is horrible. I celebrated when he stepped down and he left cabinet. Thank God that, right, he's gay, just to clarify that. But he's still transphobic. I call him the odious little prick. And Burnham seems to be bringing him back into cabinet. Fantastic. I thought we'd got rid of the little sod. We haven't.
Streeting as well is deeply in the pockets of the private healthcare industry. Deeply.
He is indeed.
Yeah.
He got funding for the last general election 2 years ago. So lots of private healthcare firms donated to his re-election campaign. So damn close to getting rid of him. So damn close. And a fantastic leftist called, not Faiza, Leanne Mohammed. His majority got slashed into 528. In the scheme of things, that is nothing. That's like a street or a couple of streets, essentially. So hopefully in the next general election, byway, please Ilford North, do us a favour and get rid of that bastard. So he's the one that is most worrying for like disabled, trans folk, people suffering with long COVID. And yes, the pandemic is over, but it's still floating around in the community. I should have actually said my degree's in virology and parasitology, by the way, everyone.
Oh.
So I'm keeping an eye to make sure there's not a new variant that can come out and like rip through the society again. Keeping an eye on it, so don't worry.
Yeah.
So being able to
We're in good
campaign
hands.
against West Streeting not getting back in is a mission of mine's.
Hmm?
Yeah,
Whereas
'cause if
your
we're going to have
nothing.
some semblance of healthcare, we've got to not let them destroy it first.
Yeah.
Although, like, I think if they actually took away the NHS, that would be a very igniting moment in this country for people starting to get more politically aware and starting to take their grievances more towards the government.
Ray
Mm.
K, thank
I
you so
would
much for
certainly
rating
hope-
in, comrade. Appreciate that. Everybody, go follow Ray K, one of the greatest streamers on the platform.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
It was no coincidence the timing that they gave us the NHS. They gave us the NHS at the end of the Second World War, when the country was in absolute ruins. If they hadn't have done some form of social welfare, we would have had a revolution in this country.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only when the country was in ruins, because you have to remember that that's also the same time when our country over here in Canada also got their that single payer healthcare system as well. And the major influence for it was, of course, the example of another country that had actually given much more solid healthcare system to its citizens, and that was USSR, right? Like,
yeah.
if it wasn't for the USSR implementing the healthcare system that it did, it's highly likely that that the European countries or Canada, they wouldn't have felt the need to do that.
Yeah, it was a can I copy your homework moment because I don't want you getting ahead.
Yeah, well, I don't want you
Essentially-
getting ahead, and if we don't give this little bit, soon workers in our country will be asking, well, you're telling us, it's better here than in Russia, but how come in Russia they have this healthcare service, right? And so they'll start to want revolution. They'll start to want to organize for what Russia has, so we better give them at least this, right?
I think if America didn't have such militant police and like militant security forces, I think the Americans would have successfully negotiated some sort of single payer healthcare by now.
You
Yeah,
see,
I mean, I don't know.
That's the other thing that I like want to point out too, is that like y'all have said that like when you guys got your single payer healthcare models, that was when your countries were at the closest point they possibly could have been to socialism.
Yeah.
And then they were given that
And
as
this is something
as
that
like a small concession to say, oh, don't go that far.
Yeah,
And
something I want to
what I
say,
would
Bri,
argue
like
is-
related, because this relates to something I was saying yesterday, is you have to realize, like, in many ways, a lot of the failures of the U.S. healthcare system, and I'm not saying that there isn't more problems, but in a great deal of the ways, it gets manifested as well in our single-payer healthcare system, including in the sense that people like you can say, oh, people can't afford healthcare, and that is terrible, and I'm not taking away from that. But there's people here who can't get fucking doctors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like their doctor is literally a walk-in clinic that doesn't really keep good track of their records. That doesn't. So if they have mental health problems or bipolar or something like this, there's no real like tracking of that history, and so they end up getting misdiagnosed or told they're just depressed or put on some SSRI that's not really helpful for their particular situation. And something that's interesting is that in many ways the US is labor struggle, as I've said before, is far more advanced than it is in Canada or
Yeah.
in
And the UK.
in the UK for that matter.
Yeah,
Like,
I
they're
know,
just
I agree.
their organizations are at a different stage. They have independent organizations that, I mean, like, look at Great Britain. What do you have? A bunch of transphobic communist parties. Canada,
Yeah.
you know, we have our communist parties as well as in a pretty dire state.
Well, our main communist party is transphobic as fuck.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
well,
I
and
think the-
Communist Party of Great Britain, ML, which is like the alternative one, is also the same way, you know?
Yep.
I think
Whereas,
my
and
vocal
Canada's too.
org is,
But
like,
you look at US,
led by
US has
black and
PSL,
trans
they have
people.
FRSO, they have Workers' World Party, and for whatever problems they might have, man, they are on another level compared to what we have. And like that, I think like the crumbs does make a difference, right? And the other
Yeah.
thing that I want to point out is like the US can fight all it wants for that single payer healthcare system, but the other problem with it is the infrastructure doesn't exist, which
Yeah.
is the problem with our single healthcare payer system now, right? Like at one time,
Yeah.
the infrastructure did match the needs, or at least a little bit better. But as it's getting gutted, and as austerity continues, and even as we pretend to now have this liberal government that's fighting against austerity supposedly, that infrastructure is constantly getting worse, right? They're not keeping up with the amount of hospitals that need to be built. They can't keep enough nurses on staff. They can't have enough doctors on staff. They don't have enough ambulances or enough ambulance drivers and paramedics. So even though the system supposedly exists, the places where you really feel it, of course, are like at reservations that take a long time for an ambulance to get to. If you need an airlift or something, like good fucking luck. You know, it's the infrastructure that's going away. So the promise of that healthcare system is eroding as well. Its ability to fulfill those promises is getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it's been one of my issues with the DSA lot. They keep running around screaming about universal healthcare, and it's like, but you don't. Where are you talking about access to healthcare? Where are you talking about annihilating institutional racism within healthcare, institutional misogyny, transphobia? Like these state-run systems are not perfect, and they're far from it. And I argue they can't be anywhere near perfect under a capitalist society. Like, I was arguing with people about the NHS recently, because they were saying about Andy Burnham coming in and Andy Burnham's going to save the NHS. And I was like, he ain't going to save shit. They're taking the NHS away from us. We will not have an NHS within 10 years. And then everything is going to start to hit the fan over here. Like America, like Larry said, America's labor movements and union movements are so far progressed because they are in poverty. They are having to pay out $5,000 for appointments to doctors and stuff like that. They're ready. We are not. We are not going to be ready until our social welfare system has been completely annihilated. And then we will have something to fight for.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't get that far because it's slightly different up here. It's more community. It's how do I explain the difference here? It's more on the model that originally got started in 1948. So it's more as a community healthcare essentially. Like it gets better funding. We're one of the best performing NHS. NHSs in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, NHS
I'll leave
Scotland is
Northern
one of the
Ireland out.
highest rated.
Yeah. Because we've got a somewhat left SNP government, somewhat centre left.
Yeah, like you don't pay prescriptions in Scotland, but we do down here.
Yeah. I actually worked out at one point in my life. I was on 16 different types of meds.
Oof. I actually asked.
Yeah, I would have been about 160 a month. What
I
the
actually
actual
asked
hell?
my mum because my mum gets regular medications, and I asked her about the costs, and she said it's £9.90 per item, so that's per medication that you're on. But over here we get you can get like an insurance cover where you pay like £11.45 a month, and it covers however many items you have in the prescription. So it's kind of saving you money, but still, like, why is prescriptions costing you money? This is quite often like life-saving or life-bettering medications. Why should you have to pay out of pocket for that, even if you are working?
Yeah, yous are the only ones that have prescription charges now. All the other NHSs in the United Kingdom, we scrapped them. Like we were the first ones to scrap them. Then Wales followed us. Then the Northern Ireland system is a little bit different, but they're still constrained by their block grant that they get from Westminster, like all of us are. But yeah, I don't pay prescription charges. I get basically free glasses and free eye care. Like I said, good appointments. I've been discharged from rheumatology now. There's not much they can do. They've managed to stabilise my medicine regime between my rheumatologist and my GP. So they've cut down. They've taken out a lot of the meds that I was on when I was younger. Like I was on NSAIDs, and they basically destroyed my stomach lining and my intestines. Nice. I was bloody awful having to deal with that, and I'm still living with the consequences of it. So getting all that reduced was amazing. But yeah, you just having to pay for your prescription charges down there, just what the actual... like better for your NHS would be amazing. Like that would be the most liberating thing that they could actually do, is get rid of prescription charges down in England.
Well, we have to pay for glasses
I think you would feel physically ill if you heard how much my family pays for medications every month.
I will say that
Cat's on 4 different meds. I'm on 3.
I will say though, Complainy does make a good point here though, that like, as long as you're in a capitalist system where there is a profit motive, and even when you like, and I'm not saying that it doesn't benefit a lot of people, of course, who have to pay out of pocket, but even if you have a government that pays for like our healthcare system here, again, because of our settler outlook and because of the capitalist outlook on healthcare itself, it drives doctors to overprescribe like painkillers, to overprescribe medicine that is not necessarily needed. And this can happen even in like, as long as there's a capitalist system, it can happen even in a system where like a government might be paying for your medication in, let's say, in England or in Canada. Because
y'all are still paying
because the government has negotiated on behalf of the people. So the government is still paying this capitalist medication company, whether it's Pfizer or whoever it is, right? So they're still paying this company. So there's still incentive to earn Pfizer as much as possible, and then that essentially reverberates down to your doctor, who then is encouraged to prescribe lots of this medication, lots of that medication. And then, so even though and I'm not saying it's not beneficial that you're not paying, but even if you're not paying, we still have to remember in our globalized capitalist system that can still lead to people being prescribed all kinds of pain medication that maybe they didn't need. Maybe physiotherapy would have been a better option, but that's not making Pfizer a bunch of money, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what Laney said.
It's always either giving you like out the ass amounts of pain medication, or like in the case of Black women being given ibuprofen for a double mastectomy. Like it's always either nothing or way too much. This is actually so. In the book I've been reading with my chat the past few weeks, one of the two things that mentioned was how in capitalist systems they have like they do the capitalist system is just inherently eugenic, and so like we were just talking about earlier, either through actual made or through the under prescription of like mental health medications or stuff like that, they are just encouraging the people who are a burden to society to kill themselves. But also on the side that you were just talking about, Larry, there's the extractive way of how they operate, in that they will try to find the best way to turn you into a moneymaker for either the pharmaceutical companies or nursing home companies or anything else like this, like always making you some sort of engine of the economy rather than a person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
and
can-
even in a
That's
single payer
the-
healthcare system or universal, again, as long as the negotiating point has to be those pharmaceutical companies, which is why I say, like, in Canada or the UK or wherever, even in places where it appears there is, you know, even the best nationalized healthcare services, it ends up having to still serve these corporations, unfortunately, which, you know,
Yeah.
those are the things that
Like, why
ultimately
is the
we're
government
fighting
having
against.
to negotiate this stuff? They're supposed to be the government of our country. Why can't they get this stuff for their people?
Yeah, well,
for free?
well, that's just the thing, right? Research and development and the medication itself should be able to be made by the state itself. Like, fuck
Yeah.
whatever patents Pfizer or
And
whoever
often it
has on
is.
medication.
Like, the money that goes into the research is taxpayer money. Like the COVID vaccines, the money that went into that
It always
was
happens in
taxpayer money,
university, which is
and then
taxpayer
Pfizer
money.
stamped
Yeah,
it.
And not just taxpayer money, though. Worse than that, labor, right? The labor that went into it to make that medication, to research all of that, is our labor. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the guy who owns Pfizer didn't do any of the work. You know what I mean? Like, it was the people who
The
researched
people
and
who make
developed
the
and
vaccines and do the
What a
research, they should be
what
the
a
ones with
colonizer
quiet,
mindset
nice
to it, too.
lives.
Just
and
sticking
do you
your
think the
flag
people
into
who did the
something that
research
someone
and
else had
development
already
at
had and
Pfizer,
saying,
that
"I
they
just
wanted
invented this"?
Pfizer to make millions, or did they want to help people? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it because they want to help people. Like, nurses don't get into the job because they want to make money. Nurses get into the job because they enjoy helping people. They see it as a vocation.
My wife is a nurse and she fucking hates doctors, dude. She fucking hates every single one. She bitches about them all the time. She hates them so much. I wanted to check in on Neuro. I haven't heard you for a while. I want you to feel like you're unable to talk.
I was thinking because somebody asked why 2017, and I gave a very just generalized answer. But another answer is that the state-run media, SVT, Swedish State Television, they ran several documentaries that they had produced that were all transphobic. Like 3 full-length documentaries over a period of like 4 months that were all transphobic. Some just somewhat transphobic, others really fucking transphobic. And this is the only time in Swedish history that the amount of people seeking trans health care actually decreased. But yes, and this was shortly before this decision to pause all trans healthcare for 2 years. I just wanted to add on to that it's like
Leading up to it,
even like, because I mean the Swedish television, they have, like, the state media, they have in Sweden an image of being good and being progressive. but they're not, and they had like they were a bit more of that, like in the, I don't know, 80s, 90s, but they're definitely not now and haven't been for decades. But they still have that image. But yeah. So it's like yeah, but because also, but they do these things like at the same time they had some radio thing that was like rather good on trans issues, like focused on that. So it's like, but that doesn't influence society nearly as much as like big full-length documentaries sent on the best TV time, like a tiny little radio show. Yeah.
Even if it wasn't, really just like both siding an issue like that is just ridiculous, you know?
Yeah.
Like you don't need to hear both sides of that argument when one side's a Nazi.
Well, I have a theory that within the socialized healthcare systems, trans healthcare has been getting worse. But private healthcare is absolutely fine with trans people getting healthcare through them, paying them money. So it's a bit conspiratorial, but I'm curious how much money private healthcare financing is putting into these anti-trans documentaries and this anti-trans legislation that is so prevalent in our socialized healthcare systems. Because it seems too coincidental that the NHS is now suddenly against it and the Swedish healthcare is against it. But the private healthcare, they're more than happy to take your money. In fact, why don't you take a seat? We'll make you a coffee.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about like they allow and love anything that undermines like, you know, and that undermines that the public service, because again, they're not worried about the example anymore. And even if they were worried about the example of China or DPRK, the other difference I should say between now today 2026 versus when again Canada and Europe took that example of USSR and implemented a healthcare system to prevent a revolution. The other difference today is like the amount of super profits and the falling rate of profit is compel them to like really, as we see, step up the violence of the fascist system turning inwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is why like you see like I think that attack on healthcare everywhere, in addition to again that the attack on migrants, which is immigrants, which is not just happening in the US, but if you look at the rhetoric that's in the UK or in Canada, our Liberal Party sounds essentially just like Donald Trump whenever they go to talk about immigrants these days.
The rhetoric in the UK is these immigrants are coming to take your NHS. They're coming and they're getting free healthcare.
They're a strain on the system.
Yeah.
You know what? Smokers too in Canada. Like, the amount that they tax fucking smokes, and like, you know, this sounds like a non-problem for, you know, for many people maybe, but the amount that they tax smokes ends up being like actually an attack on people in poverty, because a lot of people who smoke are people who like they again it sometimes it's a reflection of like the lack of being able to get like a therapist or any sort of person to talk to in the healthcare service. So it's like a stress relief for a lot of working people. Yeah. And then all of a sudden packs of cigarettes for 25 of them that, you know, some people are going through in a day, that's charged like $30 to $40 because of the tax on it per pack, right? And
it's like 20 to 25 bucks for smokes over here.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys are aware of this, but also like people with neurodivergence, and especially those with ADHD, are extremely overrepresented in nicotine addiction. And
Yeah.
that's because
So it's not-
a lot of us, it slows down our brain. It makes us feel like we can actually deal with the fucking world.
Yeah.
So a lot of people with ADHD will smoke ciggies if they don't get their ADHD meds and stuff like that. So
Yeah, like,
Yeah, and-
I've been
and-
smoking since I was an early teen. I think 13, 14, I started smoking because it helped me pay attention.
Yeah.
I'd have a cigarette at break time, I'd come back into school, and I'd be able to concentrate more.
Yeah. And again, that's not to downplay
So
the
it's not
danger
the-
of it, but the way that they pass the expense off rather than on like the very rich who were actually gutting the healthcare service. No, they pass it off to the people who are buying cigarettes.
Consumer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Nero, you were
Yeah,
trying to
and
speak.
and not only like, as you mentioned, like it's not only an attack on poor people, but yes, it is also ableist. Which are also, it's like disabled people are also very overrepresented when it comes to poverty. But yeah, no, I mean the same thing is happening and has been happening in Sweden, and it's never it's never allowed to be presented thusly in the media. It's always presented as the bad smokers who are only punishing themselves for no good reason, and we should make them pay for the health care they will gonna need in this roundabout way. That's all, that's like the only narrative that's allowed to be shown.
They also give you PTSD with the packaging now. Like if you've ever seen the UK,
I have seen how it looks like
Canada's
in the UK,
like that
and it's
too.
disgusting.
You can
Yeah,
buy
it's
pack
disgusting.
covers now, like so,
At a certain
so like it's
point, it
become
just
an
looks
economy
like-
in
it
and
just
of
looks
itself.
Like colors to me.
Oh.
Like
I miss my
I
old
just-
tobacco and cigarette pouches and stuff. I had a nice blue on my cigarettes back in the day, and Mayfair had a nice blue packet, and now it's all like a grey, browny, greeny colour, and it's got vile pictures of like people with medical conditions and stuff all over the packaging.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the like the things that you'll see at especially like large anti-choice marches where
Yes.
they'll have the
An aborted
products of
fetus
abortion,
on
they'll have
like
the
a
fetuses
billboard.
and yeah.
Yeah.
It just to make everyone as uncomfortable as fucking possible.
Yeah, shock value.
Without really doing anything else except for shock value. Yeah.
Not actually like solving the issues of why people might smoke. Poverty. Sorry.
Yeah. No, poverty. It is. Sometimes you need a ciggy because the world fucking sucks.
Yeah, the world's shit. Let me have a cigarette.
I replaced my cigarettes with joints because of the price of them, but yes.
Yeah, same. I had to do the same. It's too expensive. Yeah, same.
On the topic of anti-choice, one of my friends, when I was a teenager, she had her first abortion, and you know what they did? They made her wake up in the what's it called? In the unit where all the newborn mothers are.
That sucks.
So that was
Jesus.
God.
that was not fun for her. Yeah, that's also
Yeah,
a thing we do here in our healthcare.
I was going to say there's something that I call the poor tax. So we've got unit pricing here. The drinks industry were not happy about it, but it still went ahead in Scotland. So they've bumped up the price per unit depending on what it is, essentially. So if you're rich, you can still afford to get your 20, 30, 40 bottle of wine or single malt or whatever, or high class gin. But for us who like to like drink either lager or like Guinness or cheaper bottles of wine, we're having to pay more now. So I've dubbed it the poor tax, because if you're rich enough, you can still drink as much as you're used to.
That's how that's how they conquer the drinking problem in Scotland. They just make it more expensive for poor people and crack on.
Yeah, fantastic.
And frame it as a healthcare initiative, or like a, or yeah.
Did you bring enough churros for the rest of us?
Not as a hitting the working people, but yeah. Yeah.
Question.
Yeah,
Larry, did you bring enough churros for the rest of us?
Scotland has.
Yes, I'll eat them and then tell you how they were.
Scotland has disproportionate rates of like addiction, not just alcohol, but like heroin addiction as well. And the way that the state deals with these things is, well, they criminalize everyone. From what Mad Cat said, they bump up the price of alcohol. And then with heroin, they just, the way that the police Scotland treat people with heroin addictions is despicable. Absolutely despicable. They treat them like they are a burden on society rather than people who are struggling with poverty and unhousedness.
Yeah, they could be going about it differently. They really could.
Yeah, they could treat it like a public health matter, which is what it is.
Am I conflating? I'm sorry. Am I conflating Scandinavian countries? I thought that Sweden also had like actually had stuff for had safe needle sites and shit like that. But you were talking about them having being against drug seeking behavior. That feels like a fucked up.
We don't have that much at all. The only long-running needle safe program is actually hereabouts in Malmö, the third largest city. It's small compared to most nations, but still, it's the third largest city. It's the only has been running for more than a decade. I think it's 2 now. It's under constant attack, but because it gets so overwhelmingly positive results, they are able, and it has a few people who really fight for it. It has been able to keep going, but every year or perhaps every second year at the longest, it gets attacked by politicians who want to shut it down because they claim it's making people do more drugs.
It's being too compassionate to people who aren't going to make enough money for the system at the end of the day.
But in Gothenburg there has been on-off such programs, but I don't know how it is right now, but not any continuously running. And the same thing is in Stockholm. Although in Gothenburg they've had a bit more of it than in Stockholm. But yeah, I think when I checked 1.5 years ago, there was no other running such program than the one in Malmö. And it's and we know, so it's very rare. And we basically we have one that is working so efficiently and has enough people supporting it that they haven't been able to shut it down, because it's so tremendously effective that just telling people the stats make them go, even if they are very against drugs, it's oh, okay, no, it has. Yeah, not only is it good, it reduces, it has reduced hepatitis, HIV, and other such diseases in Malmö by sharply. It's very effective. But no, we I think I think it is more I mean, I know it is more common in other Scandinavian countries, at least in I don't remember now like which ones and to which degree, because
Sounds
here
like something Norway would do.
Maybe I was
and
conflating
I
Norway
think
and
there are
Sweden,
such programs in Copenhagen too. But like Copenhagen is I mean Copenhagen is I would say Copenhagen is more of a cosmopolitan city than like any city in Sweden. So it has more different camps doing different stuff. But yes, as Frankenpanty points out, it is illegal to even have narcotics in your system in Sweden. We are one of the few countries in the whole world. There are only 3 countries in the world where it's illegal to have an illegal substance in your body. There, in other places, that will cause trouble if you are also acting up. You have to act up. You have to do something that gets you into trouble, or at least the cops claim that you did something that gets you into trouble.
Yeah, and then
In
catch you with
Sweden,
stuff on you.
In Sweden,
also.
I can go to the Netherlands and smoke weed legally, fly back to Sweden, and as soon as I come into the borders of Sweden, I am now doing something illegal, even though it's like I took
That's
legal
wild.
drugs in a legal place. So we have, and also we have one of the largest discrepancies between like the amount of like the sentencing for any drug-related crimes compared to the sentencing for any other crimes. We have one of the largest such in the whole world.
Oh, what? So do they treat drug-related crimes as like worse than a quote-unquote normal undrug-related crime?
Yeah, both the police
wild.
do, and also like the sentencing, and like I mean it's drug crime that they used to do stuff like nowadays cops are allowed to go through personal post like mail, even if they don't have any suspicion of wrongdoing or crime. They don't need to have anything. So they regularly go to neighborhoods and then take all the mail there and go through every single piece of parcel. And they don't even have to have any suspicion of any crime at all.
What the hell?
That was passed as an anti-drug thing, and that is very police state behavior.
Yeah, that's some wild war on drug stuff there.
Yeah, and other things that has been passed in the name of the war on drugs in Sweden is that they can wiretap people that they believe are in a gang or knows somebody who's in a gang. Said gang member doesn't have to have ever done any crime. So
that sounds illegal.
And people who know that gang member, they can wiretap them. It's like, but people, it's passed as anti-drug stuff, and it's framed as anti-drug stuff, and then people don't react to the like this. These are severe, like over like. Yeah, I mean this is like. Yeah, and they can also like raid apartments or housing units of people they believe are in gangs or knows someone who is in a gang. And again, I reiterate, they don't have to even have the suspicion of any crime here. We also have stop and frisk zones where they can stop and frisk anybody, and lo and behold, these zones are not so much in Stockholm, or they are of course in the the poorest neighborhoods in Sweden, because of course that's where they focus these things on. But
well, that's where the minorities are. You know, the people who I'm doing air quotations, sarcasm intended. The people who commit the crimes, Neuro. Because they wouldn't police affluent white neighborhoods now, because they might actually see some actual crime.
Yeah, I want to also make clear, by the way, because it might not be to some of the chatters, like the reason we are talking about, and the reason I wanted to bring up drug abuse and drug crime or whatever like that, is that drug use is a part of healthcare.
Yes,
that is
deeply connected.
That is fundamental. Like
the two.
You cannot separate these two things. Addiction is a health issue. It is not a crime issue. It is a health issue.
It's a public health issue.
It's a public health issue, and also like you're seeing even in countries that you would consider to be like the best on healthcare in neoliberal societies, have terrible attitudes towards those who are on drugs. They are criminals to them.
Related to the healthcare system and drugs in Sweden is that, like, if you are deemed as potentially a person who with a substance abuse disorder or that thing, and let me make this clear: not if it's related to alcohol, but narcotics. Then you will get severely worse healthcare. You will get less access, and the access you get will be significantly worse. And you are much more likely to be institutionalized against your will, which we do a lot in Sweden too. A lot of it. We have been, the United Nations has complained about that for decades now. And we are also one of the nations in Europe who, if not the nation in Europe, who use straitjackets the most, and other types of like restrictions.
How dehumanizing.
I mean, institutionalization really cannot be separated also from like just a carceral mindset. Like as far as prisons go, like the institutions are an extension of prisons at the end of the day.
And like my brother, one of my brothers he has been institutionalized voluntarily quite many times, and the thing is that he has never been forced, but he has been, when he has told them that, oh, now I want to leave, they say, oh, if you actually do go through with that, we will institutionalize you against your will. So, yeah.
More compassionate.
Yeah. And then when you get tired of being in the institutionalized setting and decide that you're gonna take your freedom back, they then treat you as an escaped patient, like you're some sort of common criminal.
Yeah.
Oh, Luna.
They really cannot be separated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
when you're saying
it's not perfect. Yeah, it's not perfect here. Don't get it's got its great bits, great parts of the NHS across the nations and things. It seems to be getting markedly worse south of the border. Like I'm thinking of doing a petition. I'm framing it in my mind currently. So you can create a petition and you send it to the government and they review it and they decide if it gets put on the petition's website connected to the British government. And if you get 100,000 people who sign on to it, it has to be, because this is a statutory implement. If it goes over 100,000 signatures on the petition, they have to debate it in the chamber. Not that they'll do anything, they don't need to. There is no mechanism to force them to go through and actually do better legislation, but they have to debate it at least.
Yeah, they'll debate it and then they'll go, right, shall we all go off to the bar then? And then nothing changes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
It is a good way of gaining public interest, though, like getting a gauge of where the general public is at. Because sometimes in this country, it can be so hard to tell where the average person is.
Like I'll highlight a petition that someone that I do a regular Saturday night stream with. I don't know if you know him, Luna. It's Andy Luke. And so,
sure.
in the light of this,
he's in my Discord.
In light of this stupid Supreme Court ruling, he's created a petition for 100,000 more public toilets, public conveniences.
Yeah.
He actually went and looked at all and researched it. We could actually do with 1 million, but he thought, 100,000 just to get them to bloody debate it.
Yeah.
So it's live. Anyone in Britain can go and sign it.
And for anyone that doesn't know, in the UK, our Supreme Court passed a piece of legislation saying that trans women are biological men and that trans men are biological women, and therefore we have to go into the toilets of our assigned sex at birth. But then they're not sure about that because it could cause danger to people. So actually, you need to go to a secret third toilet.
Yeah. Like
a third toilet. A third
toilet, yeah.
Disabled toilets, basically.
Yeah,
and there aren't enough of those in the UK.
It's just segregating people. That's just segregation.
Fantastic.
It's beautiful.
I wonder if we should look at some of the questions from chatters that we've had.
Yeah, we can look at a few of those. So Omaha the Cat said, are they still trying to integrate AI into PIP assessment procedures? I think that was for UKD.
So PIP is personal independence payment. I used to get it before my benefit got moved up here. It's called adult disability payment up here, and they treat me a lot better, as I said. So they're trying to integrate AI into the assessment process for people getting into personal independence payment. It is truly horrific. I do not trust them with this technology at all. This government is showing its true colours, and Andy Burnham's not going to fucking save it. Trust me on that one. So they want to integrate AI to actually decide on the level of disability of people. That might be an idea for a petition, come to think of it. And integrate it. So as it currently stands, you fill out a dirty great big form. When I applied for PIP, I got him to actually write it out for me because my handwriting is atrocious, as you can guess, with arthritis. And it's huge. The form is so forbidding
it is.
And completely dehumanizing trying to navigate this system.
Yeah.
So you do that, and it's a points-based system. You get sent for assessments with a healthcare professional. Someone who more than likely is including to your specific needs of what sort of issues you have, what disabilities you have, or any other diseases. And most of them are unqualified. Thanks, Atos and Capita, you ghoulish companies. The government literally had to bail them out because they kept on denying people. The overturn rate at one point was 93%.
Yeah,
so people had to go all the way through to, people did die when they were going through the reassessment process. It's called manual review. It happened to me twice, and our household was without money for 6.5 months. So to take that person doing the assessment, an actual person, at least that's something, and put in AI instead.
Yeah, see, my pip
I
is
can't describe the levels of terror going through me thinking about that.
my
And
pip's
people
up
like me
for
fixing the board.
my pip's up for review at the minute.
Is
I
it?
used to
Oh
be on
God.
what's called DLA, which was disabled living allowance, which I used to get.
Yeah.
I got from age 5 till they changed it to personal independence payment. I've once been denied my personal independence payment to the point that I had to threaten to take the Department of Work and Pensions to court, at which point they've swiftly overturned the decision, back paid my money, and now it's back into review process. And it's been in review for over 7 months now, and they just keep sending me a text message to say, we're still reviewing your personal independence payment. We'll continue paying you until we've made our decision. But that's 7 months. That's been up for review for 7 goddamn months. Like, I'm starting to get worried now that they're going to take that away from me. And if they take that away from me, that's my lifeline. I've been relying on that money since I was a child.
Would you have to pay them if they remove it?
No,
Because you're
they
getting
just
paid now.
stopped taking it. They just stopped paying me it, and
In Sweden, if that were happening, then you would have to pay them back for those 7 months.
they do for overpayments. If you don't declare a change in your circumstances and they continue to overpay you, then you have to pay that back. Like, I have had to pay the Department of Pensions back £2,000 before, because when I was 16 going on to 17, I didn't realize that I had to notify them when I left college. I left college and they didn't know about it for a whole year, and then they charged me all the money back.
Yeah. In Sweden, they recently changed stuff. Or wait, go on. Sorry.
Oh no, you go.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
They recently made it so, because before it was thusly that if you made an error, you had to pay them back and also pay an error fee. Yeah. Now they have made it so that the error fee is a lot more. Because it's a base fee plus a percentage fee, so you have to pay them 120% instead of just 100% plus a base fee. And the thing is, this fun little fact is that even if they make an error, you will have to pay. And and before it technically was that only if you made an error. However, when they made errors, they often claim that you made an error. But now it's even like in law that if they make an error, you will have to pay, and you will have to pay more than what you got in total. Like by I think it's like 20% more, and the base fee, and it's like.
It seems like an incentive for them to make mistakes.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is that our such department they have a lot of money. They have a ton of money. They have a surplus, and they've had a surplus for over 2 decades because they are so fucking stingy. So what they have done instead over those 2 decades is that they don't want to lose the money they get. So they want to use the money, but they don't want to give it to anybody who needs it. So what they've done instead, about a decade ago, because you have assessments from your doctor, and then you have assessment from the social workers there. But then they also started having assessment from outside consultants. And then they started having assessment of those outside consultants with other outside consultants, leading to today, every claim that is approved, which is hard, because even if you have 2 doctors saying that they have this disability, they can't do this, the social worker has to agree with that. They can override the doctor how much, like, easily, but then they they triple check every like positive assessment. Three times. It's like a ridiculous amount of money to spend just to not pay people money that they deserve. And as I said, there is a surplus. They've had a surplus for decades. They could pay a lot more people money, but oh, and also recently there was a bit of a scandal, tiny scandal that they have been using AI in their assessments. They just didn't inform anybody that they were doing that because they deemed that it was just regular business as usual. Because this department is like they are as secretive as I don't know as the department that is screening every American in the United States. There was recently a couple of years ago or something, or 1.5 or something. Yeah, there was a study that went through different of these types of departments in Europe, like Spain, Italy, the UK, France, Germany, and Sweden. And they were like in Sweden was the hardest one to get any information about because they wanted to know like how they functioned. And in Sweden it was absolutely the hardest one to get even the most basic of information. They were like, no, we can't tell you that. What do you mean? How you just basic, like at the core, how you like function, just no, we can't tell you that because of it would be like against like personal privacy issue, even if it was like, but we don't, with no mention of any persons involved at all. We just want to know like, but no, we can't say that. So yeah, and, which is also kind of the one of the things in Sweden, like how the government works, is that supposedly we are transparent. You are supposed to be able to request information about basically any and everything the government does. But yeah, they just claim it's privacy issue to even know how they function at all or what they're doing. Like when they started triple checking everything with outside consultants, people didn't know that for until after almost they have been doing that for a year. Nobody knew that was happening except the people working in that. Very, very secret. It's, like they are, it's all,
Larry, I also was curious how disability benefit, like how disability payments work in Canada, since everyone else has been sharing how their countries work. Larry?
I don't know what do you mean?
Do
how
they
work? It's really shitty. They don't work. It's extremely bad. Not good.
Yeah. I was also saying it's curious how it's so similar between, like, understand how little of a difference is being made between these countries in the United States. Like, as far as my disability benefit, when I was on it in high school, I was unable to have over $2,000 in assets. So that means anything. That means that basically means you can't own a home, because have you seen a home that is only $2,000?
Yeah.
I haven't. You can't own a car. I had to have my car put in my mother's name so that I could, drive around places. I was only given $650 a month, and that $650 is expected to be put on your rent and your living. Also definitely your rent, because again, you can't own a home. And then when I got married, my wife made $14 an hour, and they said, now you make too much money, you're being kicked off of disability. Actually, when we were going through like our worst financial situation that we've ever gone through during our marriage, it was suggested to us to get divorced as if that's a free thing to do, as if like that doesn't cost any money whatsoever, so that we could both be on disability. By the way, this happened while we had one kid and she was pregnant with the second one. So I want to emphasize to everyone, like, this is part of healthcare, and also notice how it's not that much better in other countries other than the United States.
The UK, if you ask the benefits agency, almost everyone will be relationship status single, because like it's the only way to get survivable like allowance from the state in this country is if you tell them you're single. Because if you tell them you're in a relationship and how much money your partner makes, that's it. You no benefits for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm so glad mine's got moved up to Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had. Don't get me
That's
wrong,
why
I
I'm
love
moving.
him. I'm glad we. Yeah, good idea. Nice one. They treated us differently when we were just living together. We were living together for years, so to actually get recognised and get like couples
Couples
like
allowance or
universal
something, isn't it?
yeah. We got married essentially, but I was desperate to get married before I was 40 anyway. So yeah. I am sitting surrounded by my wealth. I've got lots of books and DVDs. They're all mine. But yeah, so we got married so they would actually treat us a little bit better. At the end of the day, a bit mixed, if you wish. But yeah, so getting married in some cases is good in the benefit system. And in other cases, downright, yeah, just like you said, oh, you're in a relationship. Oh no, you have to live off the one income that comes into the household. Yeah, not with my needs. The amount of risk supports. Damn it, what's it called? I've forgotten it. So K-tape. The amount that I need of that is there's one currently sitting up on a bookcase on top of my Discworld books, and like other like splints and knee braces. They cost a lot of money. I have to avoid ones with neoprene because I'm allergic to that stuff. And they're a lot more expensive. So we need that extra income to get me the supports that I need, and better walking sticks if I need to go outside the house, and living aids for the flat. Like they've recently upgraded our flat. They decanted us, they put us in a high rise. That was bloody horrible. But they've dealt with the mold, they've done damp proofing and things. But next on the list is either getting my floorboards fixed or getting accessible bathroom facilities. Like I've got a very high-sided, narrow bath, and I have to get into the bath to have my shower. And it is very dangerous for me. I'm very unstable. I've got lower fluid levels in my cochlea, and my sense of balance is janky, to say the least. So trying to get in and out of that bath to wash myself is, I get scared every time, essentially. So I need him to help
you could have a fall and there you go, you're now another medical emergency.
Yep.
Oh yeah, well I've already done that. I've broken my toes off my radiator getting out my bath. So the radiator in the bathroom, I got out and I slipped on the new flooring and I broke 4 of my toes on my right foot. My X-rays are fun to look at. Like every last toe, I kid you not, every last toe has been broken at least once.
I wish I could afford an X-ray.
It's brilliant. Like I said, brilliant services. I get round to X-ray quite easily because it's the way my practice is placed. The X-ray suite is right behind it, but you have to go right round and out and down another corridor and into X-ray. But it's right behind my GP practice. Rather easy. and I'm quite regular. The main radiographer that knows me by my name now. It is not just my patient ID number. Oh, hi, Katie. How are you? It's the toes this time again. Said, okay, put your foot up. So that's great. That's brilliant. But I have to, when I was getting PIP, when I was receiving PIP, they kept on pestering me and my GP at the time. She was losing her mind, saying, oh, we need more of blah, blah, blah scan. Said, you pay for it. Because the practice has to pay for anything that they send the patient to, be it X-ray, MRI, it gets sent to a clinic, hematology, endocrinology, whatever, cardiac clinic, whatever, fracture clinic. That comes out of the budget for the practice. And with the Department of Work and Pensions constantly pestering myself and my GP, oh, we need more of that, we need more evidence of this to make a decision. We gave you the scans from last year. They are more than enough. So the fact that they're pestering the healthcare system for like hundreds of thousands of patients to actually to get us to justify our benefits is, yeah, it's infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
I want to overhaul it. So I don't know who's worse. I don't know who's worse, Liz Kendall or bloody Pat McFadden. They're both ghoulish bastards. I want both of them gone.
The whole building.
The whole building's falling down. It needs fixed.
Like I said before, Mad Cat, have y'all considered maybe becoming 3 or 4 countries?
I'm working on that. Do not worry. I'm part of I'm in the Scottish Greens, and we are campaigning for independence. Like, if I could just sever this country away from Westminster, we'd actually be able to do quite well on our own and actually fund things
maybe
properly.
Become socialists or something.
Yeah.
Well, the Scottish Greens are actually quite a lot of us. There's a few Marxists like myself, but it's majority socialist, essentially, like actual socialists. So we're campaigning for it to actually get a socialist Scotland. Fingers crossed, in my lifetime. Plenty of years left in me, I hope. So yes, campaigning on that to actually fund the NHS and the benefit system correctly and actually treat people like me like human.
Yeah, if you took
any comrades down in England. Oh God, yeah, I want rid of it. I don't like Westminster.
Yeah.
It is a drain on us. They dictate, going back to drug policy, we wanted to do safe consumption rooms, but the then Scottish Secretary, Alistair Jack, who is a Tory, he's a Scottish Tory, Dumfriesshire and Kirkcudbrightshire, which is down near the border, it's in South Scotland, said no. And Section 32, that's against UK policy. You're not allowed it. And basically went and nixed it. Basically dictating, we've already got these powers, dictating to Holyrood, nope, you're not allowed to do that. But we've got the competency for that. You can't block it. So the Scottish Government took it to court and it got denied. The courts held up what the Tory government done to us. That was
like
fun.
the same. Scotland tried to amend their Gender Recognition Act, and they had a new bill which would allow for self-ID, and it would make trans people's lives in the NHS a little bit easier and a bit more easier to manage. And Scotland were in the middle of doing that. They had the legislation ready to go. Tried to install it and put it in, and Westminster blocked it. They used like a power that they hadn't used in centuries to block Scotland from changing their legislation. So the best thing that could happen for the 4 nations is for Westminster to just cease to exist. We can govern
back
ourselves.
To the ocean with you.
Yeah, like we should have Soviets.
Okay. So we've got a question in chat that is very important. Very important. I just saw. Catgirl Steph says, question for Luna. How are you so cool, hot, and lovely?
um, I don't know. Magic? We'll go with magic. There we go.
Magic. Magic's cool. My
On the topic
Selma asked, what examples from other countries can we look to for inspiration to build something better than what we have now?
China and the DPRK.
I'm sure that Larry has a lot that he can say on this.
It's going to be China and the DPRK.
I would add also that like the Cuban healthcare system is fucking amazing. The fact that they offer healthcare to everyone, not even just Cubans, but just anyone, anywhere.
When it's allowed to function.
The compassion, the human compassion, is just remarkable. But I would love to hand this over to Larry.
I remember when we were watching. We were watching Ryan, Larry, on your stream when he broke his arm.
Yeah.
And the level of healthcare he received and the attention to detail they took, like they really went above and beyond to make sure that Ryan was looked after, that he knew he was cared for. And that's just something you don't see here in the West.
I mean, DPRK really is the same way. Like, I know people who were in the Korean Friendship Association in Ireland, and the woman there, she went to get eye surgery in the DPRK because she was on a waiting list for so long in Ireland that she would be waiting for years, it seemed like. And she was in the Korean Friendship Association. She had traveled and visited DPRK a couple times, and one of her guides or whatever, heard about it, and they made arrangements so that she could get this eye surgery in DPRK, a country, under extreme heavy sanctions by the West. So she was able to get her eye surgery in the DPRK before it was available to be done in her home in Ireland. There's actually a special on that. We can watch that documentary sometime on my stream. But like I said, what I appreciate also about their system is the section doctor system. So if you live in this apartment building on this floor, you know who your doctor is going to be your whole life, because this doctor is assigned to this floor of this apartment building, and then a different doctor is assigned from one floor to the other floor. Like the ratio between the amount of doctors there is, DPRK has one of the highest, along with Cuba, the ratio between the number of doctors and the number of patients. And then the other thing that I always like to mention when it comes to, because, and again, this isn't meant, Cuba, of course, we celebrate, and I love that people are getting friendlier about Cuba, but we should also remember that, like Cuba, DPRK also sends doctors all over the world. North Korea, the Hermit Kingdom, does send doctors all over the world, and so does China as well. Like, which, again, a lot of Westerners like to sort of do this meme where they say, oh, China sits around and do nothing, right? Like, as in, it just worries about its own self and just builds its own thing, and it's going to win that way. But that, like, kind of undersells the fact that China does actually engage in international proletarian solidarity as well. It sends doctors all over Africa. It does send doctors to South America as well. PLA has the People's Liberation Army has a massive hospital ship that spends almost 300 days of the year just sailing around Africa and Asia, treating people who need free healthcare.
Yeah, focused on lately focused on Ebola in Africa.
Yeah,
and like basically single-handedly, or like one of the largest contributors to helping with that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's totally undersold. And again, I don't mean to say this in a way to detract from the Cuba celebration, comrades, by any means. It's just when you see some of our friends on the left who might celebrate Cuba and, maybe say some negative things still towards North Korea or China, maybe this is something that you can remind them of, that they're
Yeah,
more
Yeah,
alike
I
than
think
they are
that I
sending
think
different.
that
doctors
there's a I
abroad
think there's a
isn't
common thread
exclusive to
here.
Cuba.
I think there's a common thread here going on, and that's that these are all socialist nations. Like
Yeah.
the framework of value in these nations is not profit. It's human beings. It's
Well-being.
people. It's the well-being of people. That's why these countries are looking to help people, because that's their frame of references towards people and not profits.
Yeah, they're actually socialized healthcare systems instead of our neoliberal single-payer systems.
Yeah, and even to the degree where, as we know, China, Cuba, and DPRK, they will, even if there's a certain patent that exists in medicine or whatever, they will even like go to lengths to get around following it in order to develop medication that is needed in their society.
The West is threatened. The West is
And
threatened by
globally.
China because China came out with a vaccine for COVID, and the CIA started a anti-vax campaign, a serious anti-vax
I remember
campaign
that.
aimed at
I remember
China,
that.
and it actually backfired into the West as well. And it was all designed
Philippines.
to stop
That happened in
the
the Philippines, right?
yes, to stop the Chinese vaccine from being bought, because they felt if they could drive up enough conspiracy around vaccines, then people wouldn't buy the vaccine from China, and America would continue to sell the vaccine and make all of the money. Because China's vaccine was, I believe, it was funded by the Chinese state, and it wasn't like patented like Pfizer and all of that. It was to stay in state control, so any profits from it would then go back into the state coffers and would empower China and the Chinese people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also just as a competition to Pfizer, etc. Because they helped other nations produce it for themselves.
Yeah.
Or no, so they got zero profit from it. But the CIA, they did 2 anti-this vaccine campaigns where they spread conspiracies about it. Not only in the Philippines, there was some other place as well where they did it, and it just it like swelled over, became much larger, I think, than they anticipated. Leading to American citizens dying of needlessly, even from it, and not mostly them, but I mean, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it just goes to show how much contempt the ruling class have for the workers, that they are so willing to throw them under the bus like that just to win a quote unquote competition in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Well, it all comes back to, like I say, at the end of the day, the problem at the end of the day isn't necessarily the individuals, right? It's the fact that capital is independent while people are not dependent. People are in fact dependent on capital. And like that rings true of everybody, from essentially the poorest like worker to even the bourgeoisie, right? And that's why it's not about individual bourgeoisie or individual capitalists at the end of the day. It's about this entire capitalist system, because one capitalist goes away and 2 more can pop right up in their place, right? Because
it's like Hydra.
yeah, because what ends up happening, of course, is those who bubble to the top are those who essentially act like capital personified, is in, through
they're
the
the
most
ones
greedy,
that are willing to
despicable.
kill the more people.
Yeah, the people who act like capital. If capital was to become anthropomorphized, it would be the worst fucking person you've ever met, right? Like just vile, greasy, despicable, like the worst person. And like that's what capitalists all have to strive to be. The more successfully you become capital personified, the more successful you become in this capitalist system, right? Like right now, Elon Musk is one of the most like capitalist personified peoples, right? But there's a bunch more that are trying to get to that spot. Which is why it's like at the end of the day, what we have to fight against is the system itself, right? It's this actual capitalist order itself.
It's the way our economies are arranged.
Yeah, and that has and that has to be done by us setting up a new socialist law where the capitalists have lost their footing, have lost their ruling position, and that has to be done through like a new
follow
law.
up on like the discussions of the DPRK, China and Cuba. Is that like this is how they're doing under extreme sanctions. This is the amount of help that they're able to do while they're being constantly kicked down by the West. And so like when you compare how they're doing when they're being actively attacked versus our countries, which are rich and under no sort of pressure in that sort of way, and the fact that ours are taking away healthcare whereas theirs are growing, it's an amazing contrast.
Yep.
I want to say something about DPRK. Kim Jong-un, like a year ago or something, toured a new hospital facility somewhere, held a speech where he said that the most important thing for a state is to protect the health of its citizens. And it's quite a stark difference to what the politicians in Sweden are saying.
Yeah, well, and talking about infrastructure before, that promise is put into practice where now you see every single county in the DPRK is getting a new hospital built.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like here we have to fight tooth and nail to get one clinic built.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a hospital that isn't big enough for the patients that they have, because like over here in the UK, you have patients in like broom closets, you have patients in hallways, you have emergency patients being treated in car parks. Like this can't continue. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah,
It really is.
bloody ridiculous. I'm going to have to sign off. That's my husband awake now, and I try my best not to be live when he's up.
We loved having you so much, Katie. Thank you so much for
talking to you.
I'll just say one final.
Everyone, give Mad Cat a follow, please, if you haven't already.
I'll just say one thing, and this will hopefully make Luna laugh. Remember when Boris promised 40 extra hospitals?
Yeah. Yeah, where are you going to put them, Boris?
Thank you, Cat Girl Steph. I'll catch you later. Thank you, everyone. This has been amazing. And what the hell is happening?
Thank you for coming.
I can hear things. Oh, thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks for the follows. This has been great. It's been brilliant being able to talk to you, Luna. And
yeah, you too.
Thank you, Nero. It's always a pleasure to interact with you. I should come over to you more often when you're streaming. Thanks, everyone. Bye, Bri. Bye, Larry.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye, Luna. Bye, Nero. Catch you later. Have a good weekend. Bye.
You too.
Absolutely. All right. So the next question that we had from Comrade Virgo. What are the steps that we can take to fight for real, accessible, decolonialized healthcare for all people within the Imperial Core? I would start with saying that like the thing that I've noticed in talking to all of you is that like the when you guys got socialized healthcare in your countries, it was concession.
Yes.
After being the closest that you guys were to socialist systems.
Well, our
And I
empire
would
was
say-
collapsing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
here's
would
the thing.
say
Here's the thing. At the end
I
of the
would say
day, I think
fucking push
focusing on the healthcare system itself is the problem in trying to answer that question. Because the way that we get towards what Virgo is asking, the way we get towards an actual socialized healthcare system is not actually fighting on the healthcare front itself in our current system, but it's actually building the party, building a communist party, building a vanguard party that can organize the masses.
Getting involved with labor unions.
It's not
and
settling.
Yep, and even if we can get that party organized enough before we have achieved an actual liberation, before we have achieved a revolution, if we can get enough people organized, enough resources pooled together in that communist party, maybe we can even talk about building a hospital or a healthcare clinic or a mental health care clinic that can actually serve people. You know, I can think, I mean, what we've already talked about many times here is, especially in Canada, that would be a huge one, right? Is mental health care is badly needed, especially alternatives that are not necessarily looking at making profit again. Like that right there would be in the course of building a party. Maybe one of those dual power institutions would be therapists that, you know, are able to talk to people in that other way from that other perspective. So for me, at the end of the day, the way that we move towards building a healthcare system for anybody, no matter what, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in Canada, or whether it's in the USA, it's build the Communist Party.
Yeah.
Some more therapists who are willing to tell you maybe your problem is actually capitalism at the end of the day.
But seriously, and like think about people that might not yet be communist, who then go to that therapist and they hear those connections for the first time in their life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is a name for it that I can't remember now. That is like your problem is that your material conditions are so bad.
Shitty life syndrome or something like that.
Like this. What did you say?
Shitty life syndrome or something like that.
Yeah, it is something like that. And how, like in Sweden, because I've for most of my life I have lived under the poverty line. It was only when I was like when I was a kid, but when in my adult life, almost all of it I've lived under the poverty line. There has always been like a huge stressor, and how hard it's been to get any therapist to admit that I can't just think my way or change my do these routines to like get better when I'm constantly stressing over having enough food to eat.
Well, you mean opening your curtains doesn't work? Oh.
Yeah. Well, so the thing that I would say as far as like the build the Communist Party thing is that I would say I honestly do not think that the United States will be offering people like nationalized healthcare until there's actually a threat of a communist party. Yeah. And so like, you know,
and even if it did, again,
build that now.
You all got to build hospitals before you can even.
And when they're so desperate that they're going to offer you nationalized healthcare, say no, we're going
drag them out of their offices.
Shit.
Yeah, we're taking this for us.
We're fucking taking everything.
Yeah.
You can go to the prison. You can
because here's the thing you would say, right? When they start offering that, you say, well, where's the healthcare coming from? We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the workers. We don't have doctors in the nationals. You know what I mean? Like, where's it coming from? Because the healthcare service, it's not enough just to implement that. They would also have to abolish the private sector, and that's not
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah, they ain't gonna do
no.
that willingly. That's gonna have to be abolished by us.
Yeah.
All those
Another
people are gonna
thing-
have to be gulagged.
Who needs some serious
They
re-education?
They have to. They've caused untold amounts of mass murder.
Well, look. At the end of the day, when it comes to the U.S., the whole society will have to turned into a big gulag. Let's be real. And like, I don't mean that in like the cartoonish way that people think of, but there does need to be like a massive re-education program that is the entire like
Yeah.
focus
there
of
needs to
fucking
be-
society.
I mean,
There needs to be
mean,
punishment for healthcare CEOs and executives like that Brian Thompson guy. He was awarded because he had managed to bring in an AI system that was denying the majority of people who were applying for their healthcare insurance. And then we're all supposed to be sad when something bad happens to the guy. Like, no, that guy should be in prison. Like, he's killed people. He's a mass murderer.
Yeah.
no. Yeah, fuck him.
And
He's
if
a
he was in
mass
China or Korea, he would have faced trial.
Yeah.
And like,
He'd have probably got worse than go to prison in China or North Korea.
he would be in one of those photos where they have his head down and he's being and he's being led away, you know?
Because that's how they should be. They should
Absolutely.
be like that.
Absolutely.
Right.
He wouldn't have gotten that far anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they've done to the
Wouldn't be able
people
to
is
get that far
inhuman.
anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the proper thing. That in itself shows how their system serves themselves differently. Like if we have healthcare CEOs or fucking someone in the medical industry who does shit like that, what at worst they lose their fucking license and they go to retire early with their millions of dollars.
And their nice house.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a scandal in the NHS back in the 90s where HIV infected blood was being given to people in blood transfusions. They weren't testing this blood properly to make sure that it was safe for blood transfusions. And I'm not sure I read of a single person going to prison for that. Like infecting people with what could be a life-threatening disease, and nobody gets punished for that. Like,
Yeah.
and that's socialized healthcare for you. You get, how the hell do you get HIV blood mixed up in blood transfusions? What on earth?
You don't test that. Yeah, you don't test that shit at all. Like fucking. You're just stigmatizing an entire group of people instead.
Yeah, meanwhile, gay people can't give blood.
You are creating even more hostility towards people.
Yeah, you're just trying to make violence upon gay people. That's all that's happening.
Yeah.
In Sweden, after the COVID vaccine arrived, there was a couple of nurses who were against the vaccine that they weren't administering the vaccine. They replaced the vaccine with like nothing. And
placebo or whatever.
They lost their job. That was happened. But there were hundreds of people who thought they had gotten the vaccine didn't get it, and at first one of them was only on leave. That was initially her punishment, and it's like what the fuck?
The fuck you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because the argument was something like, oh well, but she didn't believe in it, so it became some kind of like weird spiritual argument or something, which is like, no, she's a nurse, she can't just decide that she doesn't believe in this type of treatment and give out false treatments. That's not how it you can't
Yeah,
have
you can't have that. You can't have people who are anti-science in charge of people's healthcare.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean,
No, you don't
that's like,
understand. I'm not a
unfortunately,
murderer. I just don't believe in medicine as a medical professional.
I don't believe in
Yeah.
science.
And
So
once again,
science isn't
there's the
real.
problem of individualism in the healthcare system.
Yeah.
We won't have better healthcare until we have a goddamn revolution everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
agree.
another, like in Sweden, we also had like our equivalent to Fauci sitting in the best like TV time, talking and saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, now COVID is the elderly's best friend," meaning that the elderly are dying by COVID, and like no pushback or anything, just like that. No, that it's a good thing that there's COVID because the old people are dying.
Yeah.
It's like there's no pushback at
It's
that.
just
And that's like
eugenics.
that's
It's just
pure
eugenics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight up eugenics on the best TV time on one of the largest TV channels in Sweden, and no fucking pushback. Didn't become a scandal. The only people who even commented on it were like disabled people and like disability justice people.
I mean, even when it
Those
becomes a
people
scandal,
didn't even fucking react.
they don't give a shit. Like I said, they've
Yeah.
like here with the fucking maid service, they've offered it to even Olympians like who asked for a different wheelchair. This is somebody who won a gold medal in Special Olympics and Para Olympics, and they offer her maid services. You know, like literally
Aren't they doing
offered
Maid
it to her.
Aren't they offering Maid a shit ton to First Nations communities as well?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you're
it's
poor
just
or whatever.
it's just a new way of doing moonlight tours.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But listen, it's getting a little bit problematic for us to keep sending the cops to shoot you, so we've come up with a new method.
Yeah. There's a few different
We'll call it
methods.
compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the cop thing still works too. They still use that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you know what?
That's your healthcare check, actually.
Well, you see, but that's fun for them. So like that's
if you have a mental health care check,
Yeah.
that's like 9 times out of 10 when a native person gets shot in Canada, it's the result of somebody calling for a mental health care check.
That is the healthcare check. The healthcare check.
And they're supposed to bring like a community member or something, like someone from the band office, but usually they don't. Usually they just show up and shoot you.
Isn't another like result often also that they take the kids?
Yeah, well that's always another possibility, is if anytime you get cops called on you, or anytime, even if you get an ambulance sent to your house, there's a possibility that the paramedics, and again, just exacerbating the fact why First Nations people might not use these services, is ambulance workers or police, they can like give a report on conditions they saw on a reservation or at a particular house, and then next thing you know, you've got Child Protective Services coming and taking kids away because of
it's
poverty.
mandatory reporting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Same in the
thing here in
UK.
Sweden.
It's
Another thing
reporting that's just completely blind to the material conditions that are going on that cause that kind of shit. It's not because parents don't care about their kids in these cases.
Yeah.
It's because
You know what?
and it's also
you
it's
fucking
like
put them in that situation.
And then those kids, by the way, even though supposedly in the laws it's written that they look for First Nations families first, again, 9 times out of 10, these native kids, they'll wind up in a white family that at best, in the absolute best scenario, they have no contact or knowledge of their, like, you know, their heritage, their culture ever again. But in more commonly, they end up in a situation where they're being abused.
Yeah.
And the scale of abuse goes from, you know,
Well, that goes on. That's a whole story of adoption agencies and stuff under capitalism.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
foster care under capitalism.
Yep. But it's all
It's
intertwined into that, you know, at the end of the day.
Sweden's current prime minister, he has several human trafficking scandals behind him.
Yeah.
All related to kids as well.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And again, that gets tied up to it because paramedics or police workers see something that they're taught, if you see this, you have to report it. And so they report it.
Another thing that is similar to Sweden and Canada and these settler colonial states is that we also have people, like we also forcefully sterilize indigenous, Romani, poor people. Every once in a while there is such a scandal that this or that doctor like sterilized people without their knowledge. That is like it and people in Sweden don't think it is like that. They think that might have happened in the past. That's like the highest level they believe in it, basically. But it is a still continuing thing in Sweden.
Yeah, Canada too.
Yeah, there's a common joke around the United States, and I think also Canada, that like people in Europe think that they're not racist, and then you ask them about Romani people, and then they then
then you hear the racism.
I mean, I didn't know that I had Romani ancestors until I was a teenager and realized that these stories that were told in my family about a so-called Valloner, that was, oh no, that is like the secret word for Romani people that were like replaced because it was they didn't want to admit that they had like married Romani or like so they just replaced it with some other fake fucking group of people. So yeah, that racism is definitely there.
Well, Brian, you know I'm a parent, right? So social services over here, they will discriminate based on mental health. Like if you have medical issues and mental health problems, you will be discriminated against. And I remember when my son was first born, 10 days after he was born, social services were stood in my front room. And they basically said that the reason that they had been called was because of my mental health. And when I pressed them further on this, they said that the health visitor, because you get a health visitor when you have a child in the UK, who comes around just to make sure everything's okay, weigh the child. And I had been pacing around because I have anxiety. I pace around quite a lot when I'm nervous. And the health visitor saw my pacing, assumed that was an issue, and then called social services, which then resulted in 2 years worth of some of the most inhumane and gruesome treatment like a new parent could receive, all because it was discrimination against mental health. And I was kind of lucky that the chairman of the whole thing, when he found out that it was related to my mental health, he then stopped it all. He basically turned around and said, leave this family alone. But that's probably only because like we were white. If we weren't white and we had a support network, like that could have gone so much worse. I know people of color that have had their children taken away for similar circumstances. You know, that's healthcare for you under a capitalist system. Because why is that mental health a problem? Well, because there's no mental health services.
Yeah.
Why is there no mental health services? Because it's not profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done.
Oh yeah. So Mice had a follow-up to their question about looking for inspiration. Are there things we can do to further build dual power systems of community health? Thinking about the Black Panther Party did a lot of good work in promoting community health care. What can we do to build that up in the modern age? You know,
I mean, I think we kind of
you know,
covered that with Virgos.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but I also wanted to add on
I
to
would
that.
say in addition that like there are like there is a thing that like my local org does where they have uh uh free physical checkups for people,
Yeah.
where they have a bunch of doctors who, you know,
I mean,
yeah,
like I say,
who are willing to do that. And
I think a big one would be like not official social workers, but like again, people who have some knowledge in psychology and therapy, because again, that can help people understand that their problem isn't individual necessarily. It isn't something that is a problem with them, although there's things that they can do perhaps to mitigate like overwhelming feelings, anxiety, etc., etc. But that the problem, the source of their problem, is in the system that we live under, the capitalist system that we live under. I really do think that not only is that an important thing for it, yeah, like helping to enlighten and encourage people to rethink like healthcare and disability, but I think that that also is so important because again, even in places where we have a universal healthcare system under capitalism, the healthcare systems tend to be the place where you notice that you're still under this capitalist hellscape most of all, because the mental health care service is all about pumping you full of painkillers, pumping you full of SSRIs, whatever else, in order to just get you back to work, rather than actually like figuring out what the source of the problem is and solving that. And even to the point where they will misdiagnose like bipolar disorder and other things because they rapidly want to get you back to work rather than taking the time necessary to figure out if this is a problem with if this is bipolar disorder, or is this borderline personality disorder, or whatever they're defining it as, right? Like instead of taking the time to do that, they want to quickly come to a conclusion and get you medication.
Yeah, because it's time is money mentality.
No, and Argonian, I don't mean to say that SSRIs are bad, but the wrong SSRI is bad.
Yeah, it's being SSRIs are being used as a catch-all treatment for people with mental health issues, and it can't be used
I would say that like more people are on SSRIs right now than at any other point in history, and that has to, like, there are a lot of chemical imbalances that like do definitely need that, but also we have to understand that like worsening conditions, worsening material conditions in society is going to mean more people are going to need psychiatric help because of how grueling these fucking systems are.
Yeah, and call me Jesus, that's a great point.
Like, yeah.
That's why that's why they're so hesitant to diagnose autism.
Yeah, there's no drugs they can pump you full of.
There's no drug. Yeah.
Because you're neurodivergent.
No money to be made. Yeah. And the real treatment for people with autism is actually cannabis.
Yeah.
Which is a controlled substance in most countries.
Yeah. And the other thing that helps, of course, as we know with autism, because it's just neurodivergence, is therapy, like talking to a social coach who can help you understand how to interact with neurotypicals, right? Like it's not so much therapy, it's like here's things that you might not think of as an autistic person, and just helping you to navigate that. But that's not something that's like a profitable, you know, even like
you on SSRIs, because talking therapy is time and money.
Yeah. And so again, that's why I'm saying it's not against SSRIs, but if we did improve our social conditions and improved our social relations, it would be more clear who needs SSRIs and who needs therapy that, you know, is not seen as profitable or it doesn't give drug companies a lot of money or whatever else. So I'm
It's
not
also
coming at them at
socially
the same way as like a
stigmatized.
right winger is. I just want to be
Yeah.
very clear about that.
Therapy is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
socially stigmatized. Like people in society, the average person will be like, "Oh, you need therapy to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about your problems
They'll
to
call
go
it
to
a
work."
shrink.
And it's like, yeah, I do. I do need to talk about my issues so that I can like be a more productive person in the labor force. Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
and
need-
it sucks that has to be a transactional, commodified thing. But welcome to
Yeah.
capitalism, huh?
Yeah, welcome to
Yeah, yeah.
capitalism.
It's the only thing that they care about is you being like them being able to extract wealth from you.
Yeah.
That's the only thing they care about at the end of the day.
That's what it
And
all boils down to.
if there's something that is making it less able for you to be extracted from, they don't fucking care. They don't fucking care.
I think Americans listening, because I know doctors on average and nurses and healthcare professionals are more left of center quite often, and a lot of our circles are brimming with healthcare professionals. Like, imagine if those healthcare professionals joined orgs and started offering out their services to the orgs and started making community visits,
Yeah.
started making life a little bit more bearable for the average person. You know,
And
we
that's
could
what I was
really
talking
start to
about, like
kick
with the
some ground up.
therapist, right? Or disgruntled social workers that
Yeah.
you know have faced the loss of their job because of their support for Palestine or whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Join
On the
orgs, start
topic of-
offering your services.
Yeah, that too. On the topic of therapy, I just want to mention that I have had over 2 decades of interacting with the mental health care here in Sweden, and I've constantly been asking for therapists. And during that time, I've only had I've had a short, after I got diagnosed with ADHD, I had some short groups with therapy groups. But other than that, because I've been asking for a one-to-one talking therapist, I haven't had that at all during that time. Over 2 decades, and they have never been able to provide that. And it's like, fucking hell. And another thing I wanted to add on to the previous question is keeping people alive, supporting mutual aid networks, because there's also places that you can and disability networks. These are also places where you can grow communists from. In the disability justice circles I am in, both in Sweden and internationally, there is they have, all of them have become more commie. They are a lot of them are now outright communists. And when I started interacting in them, that was not the majority of them weren't Marxist or communist, but they were liberals. But today, a lot of them are. So that's both keeping people alive, but also growing the movement, and I think that's important.
Someone in chat was talking about access to ADHD medication, and even over here in the UK, under a socialised healthcare system, I've been waiting for an appointment to get back on my ADHD meds for around 3.5 years. Both of my referrals were put in at the same time for the gender clinic and my ADHD meds. Neither of them have come back. So
That's actually
I'm just
that's
sat
actually a
here
very
twiddling my
interesting thing.
thumbs, waiting for my ADHD meds, which I've had a diagnosis of since 1995. So I don't see what the issue is here. Just give me the meds.
That's an interesting thing to think of, because where I am, I actually have to call my doctor every single month in order to get another script for my ADHD medication. By the way, this is all because they think that they have this underlying thought that people who are trying to get their ADHD medication are also trying to get high off their ADHD medication.
Yeah, totally.
So I have to get a new script every single month, and what that inevitably means is that I have ADHD, so I'm not going to remember sometimes.
Yeah.
What that means is that I usually run out of my medication, and then I ask for it again, and then I get it a few days later. And so every single month I am going through withdrawals from my medication. But yeah, like it doesn't seem like things are going that much better in other countries.
No.
I mean, that is very, very similar to how it is here in Sweden.
Yeah, it's like they're artificially blocking access to ADHD medication.
Yep. And I think
they're also in some places denying it exists.
That's the theme of this entire discussion, isn't it? It's not that much better. It's not socialized medicine. It's not. It turns out we actually need socialism.
This is why I keep arguing with people about in the UK. Like, they keep telling me to shut up and just be grateful. And I'm like, be grateful for what? We barely even get the scraps off of the table.
Your scraps are being taken away from you as we speak.
Yeah, literally. Well, I wasn't joking when I said we probably won't have an NHS in 10 years. Like, when I say that to healthcare professionals, they say I'm being generous. That it will last 10 years. Like, they think it will last less. And it's being done on purpose. Like, this is being done on purpose. They're purposefully doing this so they can take it away.
Mm-hmm. Comrade Virgo asked, do we think it's possible to imagine a world that's so accessible that we must redefine the terms disabled or disability? I would say that, like, to the extent of how disability is associated with burden, I would say, I think that there will always be people who are disabled.
Yeah.
Like in the sense of like needing help from community, but perhaps like a disassociation from burden to the community, I could definitely see happening. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we already see, like, although it's a very slow and long process, like, again, even in DPRK, I think we see, like, that slow process happening where, where disabled people aren't seen as a burden on society, but people with lots of beautiful and important things to contribute.
Yeah.
And, some of the small ways they have gone towards doing that is actually having like a disabled day that isn't just like a day, but actually celebrates and disabled performers give performances and read poetry from, you know what I mean, and celebrate all of these creative endeavors where in capitalist societies all creative endeavors by disabled people essentially are meaningless because they're not profitable.
Yeah, well, like, in my experience, disabled people are some of the most beautiful, smart, like, talented people in the world. Like, they're not lesser than, they're just people who need extra support in this society. They need extra social safety nets to not let them fall through systems and cracks in those systems. And then they have to form gangs. Juche gangs,
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like, the term disabled needs to be completely rethought because, like, they're not disabled; they're just people who need more care.
I disagree with you.
I mean, and to add to that, also, there are some disabilities that are only disabilities because we live in capitalism, like.
Yes.
The like ADHD as a neurodivergence, I don't think would considered a disability in a society that is not so in need of profit.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
some areas of the spectrum of autism that would also probably not be considered disability if not for the fact that like they need to make a profit at the end of the day.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
more I see
in a sense.
disability in that word, the more it feels like it's got a punch to it, if that makes sense. Like when I
Yeah.
read it, disabled, disability, disability, it feels like it's got a punch to it.
I get what you're saying in a sense, but it's like people who have trouble standing up and walking. If they didn't have to do that to be able to survive, then they wouldn't need. Then that's the same thing as the ADHD you just explained. I see it more like. I see it more like this, that disabled, yeah, you do have certain needs that able-bodied people don't. And if you only look at it through a lens of capitalism, then yeah, sure. But I don't think you have to do that. Because even if I wasn't living in a capitalist society, I would definitely prefer to have my ADHD meds.
Yeah.
And that would make me disabled compared to an able-bodied person. I'm trying more the line of like, how can we like, because like Larry was saying about like having a like the disability day would celebrate disabled people and like their accomplishment and their like unique ways of interacting with the world that are precious because they add to the community as a whole. To see to try and celebrate disability, and there, so it's like I'm more trying like to remove the stigma, the guilt people often feel like to like rather celebrate.
Yeah, and
like
that like that's exactly what I was trying to say. I just want to say like that what NeuroRiot is saying right now is exactly the point I was trying to make. Like the disabilities are still there, of course, and the people have special needs, but what changes is people's attitude towards disabled people to the point where even in DPRK, like the language they use towards describing disabled people is so much less important than the people celebrating their contributions, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the terms kind of change.
Yeah, and I say that because if you actually look at like an article from DPRK about disabled people, something might strike you is that they use somewhat antiquated language. Like they will even say, for excuse my language while I say this, but I'm just saying this so you understand, they will even say deaf and dumb, for example. Okay? Now that here we would see that as like, that's an offensive thing to say, it's uncomfortable, but the language doesn't matter so much as the fact that the people who are disabled in DPRK are celebrated as, despite their disabilities, as full contributing members of society, and this is the ways they have contributed. These are the struggles that they go through to be able to to contribute, and they should be celebrated for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Whereas
And that's
over
my
here
thing,
in
I
the
guess, is
West,
like
it
it's
feels
not we
like
shouldn't focus so much on that term disability, but rather the way society treats the people with different needs, with disability.
yeah, over here we're quote unquote air quotes celebrated in the sense of, oh, look at this disabled person, feel sorry for them. Why don't you feel sorry for them? Go on.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of feels like we're a circus trick, a circus show, instead of being treated like the people that we are.
Yeah, and the person that has no agency, and that
Yeah.
the only feeling you're supposed to feel is pity.
Yeah.
Argonian, I think that there's a bit more nuance in the community. Remember back to I don't know if you were here for the previous panel, but like, for example, Lisa prefers to be called blind rather than like sight impaired, because that's what she has like. And there are some people in the deaf community that prefer deaf over hard of hearing because they cannot hear anything. It's not that they're hard of hearing. It's a bit of nuance that also you just need to talk to people in the community and see what they want to be called.
Yeah, like my housemate is visually impaired, and she refers to herself as either visually impaired or half blind, as far as I'm aware. Like either two.
Yeah.
But usually it's visually impaired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's up to the person,
I think
really, isn't it? It's up to the person how they want to describe their disability.
I was talking in PRF with Mice about like the thing is to just like refer to people how they want to be referred to while also avoiding like outright slurs, like
yes,
the autistic slur that refers to people with Asperger's, like that is not okay. That is referring back to a Nazi. But
yeah, Asperger's doesn't exist as a diagnosis anymore, and it hasn't done for like over a decade.
But if you talk to somebody from Eastern Europe or something, they might still use that term. And again, the important thing then is not to focus so much on them misusing that term, but treating them as a neurodivergent person.
That's terminology they still have in their vernacular because it's terminology that's used in their countries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also it is difficult. It is a bit difficult because of how much attached these terms are to people's self-identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some people can be very attached to certain terms, like because of that.
Yeah.
I know that in certain Spanish-speaking countries, a different word for transgender is more common that we would consider to be a negative in English-speaking countries.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
English-speaking countries. Yeah. But yeah, that is an issue for them and not for
also
us to deal with.
Yeah.
It may not even be an issue for them. It's different. It's a different history. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they also use it in Brazil and Portugal. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Let's see. What was okay? I think Timo was talking about like the punishments regarding like people with disabilities. What about the scale of punishment compared to the U.S.? It sounds like it's pretty damn similar.
Yeah, it's hard to like. Cause for me, it's just you're getting into oppression Olympics at that point. We live under a capitalist imperialist hellscape. It ain't good.
Yeah, it's like copy and paste pretty much.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of people believe that it is so much better in Europe.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, people talk
And
about the
it's like-
Scandinavian model of prisons as well. Like that's not still a prison system, and also a thing that
we in Sweden we just started imprisoning 13-year-olds and trying them as adults.
Oh, awesome. Oh, we get to criminalize the teenagers while they're still, while they're still in the cradle. Awesome.
13, barely.
their brains
a
aren't
teenager.
fully formed.
Yeah, like the minimum age of arrest in the
13,
UK
they
is
just
10.
became a teenager even. Like what? I mean, not that it's much better but still, like they were just pre-teens. Like,
Like they can arrest 10-year-olds over here.
Yeah.
Like what do you mean you arrested a 10-year-old? Do you feel big about that, officer? Do you feel big about bringing in a 10-year-old?
We're also like having a serious discussion about renting prisons abroad and sending people over there. So that's fun. The whole political. We have an election coming up, and like just this election and the previous election, so much has been on so-called tough on crime, the narrative in the media. But the thing is that most just like now and the previous election, the polls on what people actually care about, they don't care about that. They care. One of the things they care most about is healthcare and its cost of living crisis. Cost of living crisis is talked about a little bit. Healthcare isn't talked about much at all, and it wasn't even last election when COVID was much more like a thing people talked about. But so these are the things that people actually cared about, but the media doesn't. It's not representative at all. It's xenophobia, tough on crime, anti-trans stuff. And that's basically it. That's
over here it's stop the boats, transphobia, and migrants are like murdering everyone within a 5 square radius of everywhere in London or something. Not the actual issues that people are concerned about, because like in Sweden over here, the concerns when the people are polled are healthcare, workers' rights, and housing, and cost of living crisis. That's what people care about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do we have any other questions, chat? That was all the questions that were being held by my mods.
I think this was a fantastic discussion.
This was a fantastic chat. I appreciate all of you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I know it's super fucking late for all of you.
Yeah, I think I'm tired.
It's just about to hit midnight for me.
Almost 2 a.m. here.
Almost 6 a.m. for me.
Hey, the sun's rising.
The sun's already risen out there.
It's almost like as the middle of the day here. Not quite yet, but almost.
That's why I was quiet in Larry's stream, because I was just napping while the stream was going on.
Yeah. I must be at many hours of stream going now here.
You're at 10.5. You're at
10.5. Yeah. Hours. That's a good streaming day for me right there.
Yeah, that's gonna put your numbers up.
I don't know where y'all are going. I'm gonna head over to Lawsuit.
Oh my god. Mansoor the Goat. Thank you so much for dropping 5 gift subs on me.
Oh, they're from your chat, aren't they, Bri?
Appreciate that. Thank you, Goat.
I know Mansoor from somewhere.
I don't know.
Because I'm pretty sure they gifted me a sub in someone's chat as well. I regularly see them gifting like subs up in leftist chats.
Well, either way, I appreciate your support, comrade. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
They are Mansoor.
It has been a fantastic discussion. I appreciate you inviting me again to another panel.
I could not think of a better person to ask.
Yeah, Mansour is a
yeah.
Mysore. That's where.
There you go.
Mycelium.
Oh,
Been a really good chat.
we love Mycelium, comrades.
Yeah, we do indeed.
We do.
So, I mean, I was thinking, Bri,
Happy
of
Disability
going.
Pride Month to all you guys.
Yeah, it's
Thank
still
you
Pride
again.
Month here in the UK.
Is it? Nice.
Yeah, we celebrate in July, but it kind of stretches over from June as well now, so we get like 2 months of Pride in the UK.
It's awesome.
They
Yeah, we do a
complain too much,
similar
so we had
thing,
an
or
extra
like
month.
In Sweden, it's like, I don't know if it's which one is considered the month, but we have like the Pride celebrations are in July, in the beginning of July instead.
Yeah, it's always curious because, like, in America, it's around about the time of Stonewall and the first ever Pride March.
Pride Riot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, there's a tank trooper on, but I was actually thinking about going to Lost Sioux.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Lost Sioux as well. Who's the tank tubers on?
I think Lost Sioux makes sense. Yeah, Monapoo is on as well. But I haven't got to raid Lost Sioux. Lost Sioux's not usually streaming when I do. It's very rare. Feel like dropping a big raid on Lost Sioux is a good idea right now.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
But again, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, no, thank
No,
you.
you're welcome, bro.
It was
been a
great
great
talking
chat.
to Neuro Riot, of course, as always, and Luna, it was great talking to you for the first time. And
Yeah, good
Bri,
talking
thank
to
you
you
for
too,
inviting
Larry.
me again to another panel.
I love complaining about the healthcare over here. It's one of my favorite things to
do. Yeah.
They were doing UFO stuff on Twitter. Yeah, he was on Twitter doing a lot of yapping for a while, but he's back now, and I love to see my uncle back. So when you get in there,
Fantastic.
make sure you drop a little message for Sue. Say hi. Drop a follow if you're not following him.
Lost Sioux a happy Disability Pride Month. Yeah.
and
Big
follow
deal.
Lost Sioux.
Thank you, chat, for having a fantastic, for being
Yes,
fantastic. I don't think that you guys, I don't think that the mods had to do much with y'all.
No, chat was amazing
awesome.
and fantastic questions. You enhance the discussion, chat. And we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Chat's always really good when we have these discussions.
Mm-hmm.
You're a credit to yourselves.